And the health benefits have been amazing. I lowered my A1C. I sleep better. Look, if you want proof, go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Click on Request a Nutritionist Callback and take advantage of Sota's biggest savings of the year and ask about the holiday special. Sota will change your life for the better because it's, say it with me, Say of the Art.
This is Derek Overstreet of the New Millennium Group and host of Stop Working and Start Living Radio. If you're close to or in retirement and you don't have a tax plan, call us right now, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. Listen, our country's been spending like never before, and the tax bill is coming soon. If you need an income tax strategy and a financial plan that will get you through the rest of your life, give my team a call, 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. If you want an investment plan that allows you to keep more of your gains and pay less taxes, give us a call, 888-999-6370. My team specializes in the type of plan that will get you retired 3 to 5 years sooner than you thought possible. So, get a no-cost tax analysis by calling 888-999-6370. That's 888-999-6370. My team is standing by now.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Michelle Rowe is now in the traffic center.
Well, we're looking at good speeds for drivers said if they're making way into downtown. Just minor slowing southbound as you're approaching Rose Park, and then northbound at the South Interchange. A little bit of slowing at the south end of the Salt Lake Valley as well. Tickets on sale for A Christmas Story, the musical, live at the Sierra in Orem. Tickets available calling 225-ARTS or Sierra.org. A Christmas Story, the musical, live at Sierra in Orem. Michelle Rowan, the KSL Traffic Center.
This might be the simplest forecast we've had in a long time, and it will stay this way all week. 46 for a high, lows at night just below the freezing mark, and right now in Salt Lake City, speaking of freezing, it's 32 degrees, but that haze will continue to build up through the weekend. Right now, as I mentioned, 32 downtown. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, if you saw the photos and the video on KSL 5 television last night or on Facebook of that wild scene on I-15 in the Payson area, so about an hour south of Salt Lake City, you just can't look away from that and ask the question, what went wrong inside that plane that caused that pilot to make a landing on I-15 at about 8 o'clock last night?
And in part, what is so strange when I look at these pictures, Debbie, is the plane is probably the least damaged vehicle of everyone involved in this crash. A little damage to the tail, but the cars were just smashed to smithereens. I mean, it was incredible. It's 9:07. It's time for the launch.
Sequence engaged.
And here are 3 things that Debbie wants you to know.
Countdown. 3.
Online shoppers predicted to spend $13 billion. That's just on Cyber Monday alone. Millions of packages set to sit idle on porches across Utah and all across America, which, quite frankly, can become inventory for crooks. More than 120 million packages snatched off porches last year alone. So at 9:35, we're going to go into 3 new to us ways to protect yourself from porch pirates. You're going to hear one creative solution from a mail delivery person that he devised right on the spot as he was delivering a package and talking to the homeowner through a doorbell camera.
Hi, we're not home. Usually I don't leave stuff at the front if it's not from a store. Would you like me to put it inside the recycling bin?
Oh, yeah, that would work.
Okay.
Put it inside the recycling bin? That's the most thoughtful delivery driver I've ever seen in my life. That was so amazing. Now, I love that line, Debbie. Inventory for crooks. That's totally what it is. That's what's happening with these porch pirates. Now, imagine if you take every single thing that was purchased yesterday, every single thing that was purchased on Cyber Monday, and then it just disappears. That's how much is being stolen every year by porch pirates.
Countdown. 2.
A no parking dispute brewing in Ogden. The paint barely had dried when a North Ogden resident repainted the red curb outside her house. She said the city failed to notify her they'd be painting it red. Ogden City calling in at 10:20 to explain what happened in this case, and the resident who painted over the red curb joining us at 10:05.
No one explicitly told me, the homeowner who this affects most, you're going to have a red curb right in front of your house. This is why you should come to this meeting. It was, here are some of the developments that are going on your street. Come to an open house if you have any questions.
I am absolutely cracking up at this person. It was painted red, the curb, painted red, and then she just goes back and she paints it white. She's like, no. We're not accepting this. Like, return to sender. This is just still a parking place for us. But I do want to talk to the cities. Oftentimes when they, like, oh, it was on our website. It's like the terms of agreement, that you click on Apple. You're just like, yes. It's out there technically, but does anyone actually know what's in it?
Launch countdown 1.
We begin by looking into what went wrong that forced a small plane to land on I-15 last night, causing several cars to collide. Here's UHP Sergeant Jeremy Matthews on the scene last night as it was all unfolding.
The plane wasn't very well lit and had several vehicles crash into the airplane and into each other.
I hadn't really thought of that, but of course planes are not well lit. They have a few maybe white or red lights. That's it. It's not like they have headlights. I hadn't really thought about that. If they do land or if they have to have an emergency landing at night, how could you possibly see them?
Dave and Dujanovic.
The Launch.
Commence.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
And not just looking at what went wrong, but what also might have gone right. Caught this on KSL5 Television's Facebook post last night about this emergency landing, and a woman had commented, Dave, that, quote, the plane landed right in front of me as I was getting off the Payson Main Street exit. There was one more SUV in front of me, and I saw how the white plane landed safely. She goes on to say whoever was flying that plane did an amazing job at landing.
But then once you land, then what? Because you are on a freeway. Adam Small joins us right now from KSL News Radio. And Adam, you've been following this story. Paint us a picture of where this plane landed.
Yeah, so northbound I-15 in Payson around 8:15 last night. Basically, this plane, we're still trying to figure out exactly what caused the engine to go out, but UHP said there was a mechanical failure. The engine quit. This is a small little plane. Being told one pilot and a student pilot were in this. I'm just getting an update now as I've been reaching out for more info. And this plane needs to make an emergency landing, is landing on northbound I-15. But, of course, cars are going probably 70, 80 miles an hour, and it's pretty difficult to stop. So from what I'm being told, most of the cars were able to stop, but there was a pickup truck, which I believe was the white one you saw in those pictures, just got so mashed up, almost looked like it was sandwiched, wasn't able to stop and pushed 4 more cars into the back of that plane. So I think if there's any good news here is that everyone who was injured is still alive, and there was actually one person I'm told was sent to the hospital in critical condition. They've now been downgraded to serious condition. So you've got a couple people with serious injuries. Others have minor to moderate injuries. The 2 people on this plane were not injured at all. They walked away from it.
So it sounds like those who were injured, their conditions are improving as of this morning.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you gotten any more details yet about where this plane was flying to or flying from, or were they coming out of the Provo airport? Do we know anything like that? Because that's kind of maybe about 17 miles away from Payson is Provo. So that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, not quite yet. I do remember the UHP sergeant that was on the scene last night that we were playing sound from this morning. He had mentioned that they were trying to find a way to get the plane back to the airport, but I don't think he had specified which one.
Okay.
But I do remember him saying they were trying to get it back to a specific airport. We just haven't learned which one yet.
Adam Small, thank you for the update. We will continue to follow this.
Yes, absolutely. Adam, thank you so much. In just a few minutes, I know you'll keep your ear to the radio out in the newsroom. Adam will be speaking live with UHP for an update on what they know We also had a couple of people emailing our news station last night about this, and one tipster saying that he left fast. He was in the area. He was actually a witness. He said he left fast. Everyone was slamming on their brakes, and he mentioned that he didn't think that the plane didn't have any lights. So again, that appears to be why maybe cars weren't able to spot the plane as it was landing. It was dark. It was just after 8 o'clock last night. So straight ahead, let's get more information on the scene that happened last night in the Payson area of I-15 northbound from the Utah Highway Patrol. They're calling the show live next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
I know you've already sworn off food after Thanksgiving. You're just so stuffed. I'm never eating again. How we get sucked into it, especially this time during the holidays. We love to eat, and we're going to pack on a few pounds. We just know that's going to happen. It's part of the reason over the years I put on too much weight. So I joined Salt Lake City Fat Loss, and they walked me through their program and explained it to me without injections, without surgery, how I could lose up to a pound of fat a day. That was their pitch. We can lose up to a pound of fat per day. Now, I thought that was super optimistic, but sure enough, I was on the program, and they have a couple different phases. So the first 2 months is just a reduction phase where you're losing a ton of weight. During that time, that 60 days, I lost 57 pounds. And it was incredible. I felt great. I was able to stay motivated because the results were so fantastic. Well, I think you could try it. Check it out for yourself. Schedule a free consultation with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Just reach out to them. Go to their website, slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. In these trying times, when inflation is out of control and our paychecks give us less and less money to support our families, the last thing any of us can afford is for the IRS to garnish wages, levy bank accounts, or seize assets. It's important now more than ever to protect your financial security.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
$66,300. Let us safeguard you. Visit endtaxworry.com. We have saved countless taxpayers like you millions of dollars, kept businesses in operation, and ensured that our clients receive the best possible outcome.
Nearly $65,000.
$12,000 is something that you can look at and say, okay, I can handle that.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. You work hard for your money. Let us work hard for you. Visit endtaxworry.com.
We're very grateful.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, Doug Wright here with one more little experiment you can do at home. In a pan of water, all you have to do is stir in limestone, calcium, magnesium particles, and then heat that whole mess up on the stove. And you know what, on second thought, not such a good idea, because limestone, calcium, and magnesium particles heated in water will clump and stick to your pan like concrete, which incidentally is exactly what's going on inside your water heater. Think about it, limestone, calcium, magnesium, that's what makes hard water hard. hard. And trust me on this, if you live in northern Utah, your home has hard water. So call Connecticut of Utah. I'll give you the number in a moment. They'll test your water's hardness for free, and they'll show you the patented design features that make Connecticut water softeners work better than any other. Connecticut of Utah, an authorized Connecticut dealer. To learn more, call Connecticut. It's 801-576-8600 or log on to softwaterutah.com. And call now while it's on your mind.
Odyssey Dance Theater's Christmas Spectacular, starring David Osmond. All your favorite Christmas season events in one production. Visit odysseydance.com for show details and tickets.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Well, we just heard from our very own Adam Small, who's been covering this plane landing on I-15 last night, northbound in the Payson area. And we learned some good news in the sense that those who were sent to the hospital because several cars collided after this plane landed with that plane. Their conditions, it sounds like they've been upgraded. We've also learned, according to Adam and his coverage, that there was a student on that plane and an instructor, from what we understand.
And I will be interested to find out if it was the student that was flying at the same time, if this was one of the planes that allows the instructor to take over in this emergency landing situation. But we will...
Lieutenant Cameron Roden of the Utah Highway Patrol on the line with us live right now. Lieutenant, let's start with, do you know yet what went wrong in that plane and on that plane last night to force the pilot to land on I-15?
So we have not reached any conclusions yet on that. We are going to work with federal agencies to make sure we look into all aspects to see what the ultimate cause of that mechanical issue was.
Adam had indicated earlier in our conversation that perhaps an engine had shut down on that plane. Is there anything that you have that can confirm that for us?
So it sounds like that they did lose power, causing the engine to shut down, which prompted the emergency landing. I know they were going to try to get to a nearby airport, but were not able to do so just with proximity.
As I'm looking at these pictures, it is a plane with a single propeller on the front. It has 4 seats, but it sounds like there were only 2. They were actually in the plane. Do we know who was flying at the moment?
I have not heard a definition of definite who was flying the plane at the time, and there may have been, like you had mentioned, there may have been some point that the instructor may have taken over. We still have yet to determine that.
Can you back up just for our timeline's sake? Did this plane take off from the Provo airport or nearby airport? Where was it coming? Where was it going?
It was trying to get to the Spanish Fork Airport where it was going to make that its landing, but ultimately I have not been able to hear where it ultimately had left from.
Okay, so it sounds like then it was trying to get to Spanish Fork to make that landing.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
So when this plane was landing on I-15, it was landing with traffic, so it wasn't going against traffic, correct?
Correct. Yes, going northbound. It did land, and we've had this from time to time where we've had an aircraft that's landed on a roadway for one reason or another. But so yes, landing northbound with traffic. The landing was actually conducted successfully, and the crash occurred afterwards.
So the plane had come to a stop, or it had at least landed, and then that's when the car started crashing in?
Yes, correct. There were several vehicles that had stopped for the aircraft, and then there was another pickup truck that was approaching the stop traffic and hit that traffic, pushing it into the aircraft.
So when the crash happened, did it go into oncoming traffic, or did it push the plane or the vehicles into oncoming traffic coming the other way?
Luckily, no. There is a median right there and a median barrier, so there was no traffic that came in that went into oncoming, but it just affected the northbound lanes.
Adam Small, just moments ago, was reporting for us and gave us an update on the people who were sent to the hospital. And we know that it doesn't sound like people on the plane were sent to the hospital, but people involved in that in the collisions with the cars were sent, and that their conditions are improving this morning. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so initially last night, one of the individuals was reported in critical condition, and they've since upgraded that to serious condition. So still some serious injuries, which is tragic, but at least it's not as serious as it was anticipated to be.
Now, obviously, this is not what the freeways are set up for, but do you know if pilots are trained to, if they are in an emergency situation, to land on freeways, on roads?
You know, I am not familiar with pilots' trainings, but like I had mentioned, it does happen from time to time where an aircraft is for, an emergency type situation where one actually lands on the freeway or a roadway. And I know for the most part, they try to pick a roadway that's not going to be affected too much, but they also need one where they can conduct a landing safely for the aircraft.
We're speaking live right now to Lieutenant Cameron Roden with the Utah Highway Patrol. A plane had to make a landing last night on I-15, northbound lanes near Payson, which is about an hour or so, is that fair to say, Dave, south of Salt Lake City. And several people were sent to the hospital because there were cars that ended up, there was a collision. And part of that reason for the collision, it sounds like, can you confirm this, that the plane was pretty dimly lit, that maybe drivers weren't able to quite see that the plane was there in front of them?
Well, this is a situation that most people really don't expect, and that's why, we say really harp on driving being a full-time job. You need to make sure your attention, because you may be presented with a situation that you are definitely not expecting, and so you may have to react to some type of hazard that you don't really think is going to be a hazard. So drivers that are driving along and all of a sudden there's a stopped aircraft in the road, they had to react suddenly to that.
The two people that were inside the plane, they were inside the plane when the collisions occurred, right? They hadn't exited the plane?
Correct. As far as I'm aware, they were still in the aircraft.
And you had the road is the road damaged in any way, or is it and it's back open? We do know that.
It was quite a crashing, with an aircraft and 5 vehicles involved. So they did have quite a large scene at the time last night in which they had to start sorting things out. This is going to be an ongoing investigation where we have to put all the pieces together. But the aircraft was able to be towed off the freeway down onto a surface street where they're going to have to dismantle that to an extent where they can actually remove it. But the freeway is open, no road damage or anything like that.
So I do know that this does not happen that often. I did happen to, in the 90s, cover a similar situation. I believe it was on the East Side Belt Route in Salt Lake County as a television news reporter, where there had to be an emergency landing by a small plane on I-215 on the East Belt. Weren't a lot of cars at the time. It was kind of, I believe, mid-morning when that happened. And then we more recently, had one emergency landing on Bangerter, if I recall. This is fairly rare. But what kind of advice would you give to drivers as this is happening?
Like I mentioned, this is something that's definitely not expected. Not every day do you see an aircraft that has to land on the freeway, but we always encourage drivers to pay attention, be scanning down the road well above what's just in front of your car. That way you can react safely to any type of debris, any type of hazard that you may come upon. Just like this, these drivers, there was no way for them to anticipate that aircraft being in the roadway.
Lieutenant Cameron Roden, thank you for joining us from Utah Highway Patrol.
Adam Small just joined us a few minutes ago, giving us an update on what he has learned.
Yeah, so northbound I-15 in Payson around 8:15 last night. Basically, this plane, we're still trying to figure out exactly what caused the engine to go out, but UHP said there was a mechanical failure. The engine quit. This is a small little plane. Being told one pilot and a student pilot were in this. I'm just getting an update now as I've been reaching out for more.
I've been in one of these planes, Debbie, several times. They even flown at night, and you're right there. There's not headlights on it. It's not like you're flying by like we do in vehicles with our brights on. It is very dark, so you're flying largely according to your instruments. And of course, when it lands on I-15, you would never expect this, right? And as it's coming down and hovering, all these vehicles and drivers, how do you prepare for something like that, right? So you're doing the best you can. And fortunately, there were no fatalities. A couple people in serious condition. One was in critical condition, got upgraded to serious conditions. So that is quite the miracle.
Straight ahead, we're going to go in depth on porch pirates. We know that online shoppers are predicted to spend $13 billion just on Cyber Monday alone. That was yesterday, and I'm sure the spending spree will continue because we've seen a lot of shoppers spending a lot of money over the last several weeks, according to the latest statistics. So millions of packages will be sitting idle on porches all across Utah, which merely becomes inventory for crooks. There were more than
9:30 now at KSL News Radio. I'm Tim Hughes. Let's take a look at some of our top stories this half hour. Authorities have arrested who they believe vandalized a petroglyph panel in Kane County 10 days ago. This happened along Wire Pass near Buckskin Gulch. Harry Barber with the Bureau of Land Management says some people actually witnessed this happening and tried to get the suspect to stop.
The public stepped in, indicated to the individual that wasn't right. The individual went on to keep doing what she was doing. The public took pictures.
Barber says those pictures were huge in helping them find the suspect. He says they are recommending multiple felony charges against this woman. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Today is Giving Tuesday, where various nonprofit organizations encourage people to give back to their communities just in time for the holidays. On Good Morning America, Melinda French Gates says she will match $1 million in Giving Tuesday gifts to organizations supporting women.
If you go out in your community and you give your time, let's say you decide you want to be part of a food drive or you want to be part of serving food to the homeless, you have a connection.
Here in Utah, we have a unique opportunity to give. It's at the Giving Machines. Relief Society General President for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Camille Johnson, was in Times Square with a few of the machines. She says the community really is lighting the world.
This is an opportunity for us to love our neighbor, and our neighbor are really the people around the corner and across the world.
The items range from $7 to $300 and include things like food, education, supplies, clothing, and much more. All right, your money at this moment. The markets have been mixed all morning, still that way. The Dow is down about 145 points. That's 0.3%. The S&P down 2. It's the NASDAQ that's still in the green this morning by 44. Coming up, we'll check your traffic and weather together.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you've ever had a problem with your garage door, who do you call? Well, Advanced Garage Doors is ready because they got 24/7 same-day service, all equipped with certified technicians.
Yeah, that 24/7 same-day service can just really help you in a pinch, and those certified technicians on standby. They also get a lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts, so you'll have the peace of mind knowing that your garage door is always protected as long as you follow their recommendations.
One of the things I love about Advanced Garage Doors is any garage door or motor installed by them includes a free inspection and tune-up once a year. All you have to do is give them a call and say, hey, will you come out and look at it? And they can lube the wheels and make sure everything is on balance and going up and down. If you do this once a year, you're going to breathe life into your garage door.
And financing is available. So whether you need a garage door repair or you're looking for a new garage door to update your curb appeal, Advanced Garage Doors is your go-to.
They have zero cost estimates, free cost estimates, and you can just design that dream garage door on their website. If you're just curious, all you have to do is go to their website, advanced-door.com. That's advanced-door.com.
Or call them at 801-252-5977. Again, that phone number is 801-252-5977.
$182,000.
According to CBS News, Americans lose out on an average of $182,000 in Social Security income because they file for their benefits at the wrong time. Learn how you could wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Boss Retirement Solutions. This free analysis pinpoints the optimal time to file for Social Security while considering the impact on your taxes, IRA and 401k withdrawals, and Medicare premiums. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 801-896-9622. Discover how you could wring every nickel out of your Social Security benefits. Call 801-896-9622. 801-896-9622.
Advisory services offered through Boss Retirement Advisors.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer? Can we sleep cooler? Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Cyber Week sale, save 20% on most Sleep Number smart beds, plus free home delivery with any base. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Sounds like we have emergency traffic to talk about here. Brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Michelle, where is the spot of trouble out there?
This is southbound I-15, Tim. This is just past Park Lane. If you're headed southbound, that's going to go all the way down into Centerville. This is right about 1400 north. The left lanes are blocked, so you do want to use an alternative if at all possible. I would suggest using Legacy if you can swing that this morning. Once you get past that, though, you're seeing good speeds into downtown. Then we do have a crash. This is at 600 north, 300 west, blocking the right lane as you're headed on 300 west southbound. Shop smart at Two Brothers Mattress with their lowest price guarantee and get 100-night trial. Your locally owned Two Brothers Mattress is your #1 choice in Serta mattresses. Visit twobrothersmattress.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
We're going to look for a high today of 46 degrees, and really it's this way every day all the way through Sunday, so this continued high pressure just going to build that haze along the Wasatch Front. Overnight lows just below the freezing mark, and right now in Salt Lake City it's 32 degrees. From the Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Remember to listen online at KSLNewsRadio.com.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Online shoppers predicted to spend $13 billion just on Cyber Monday ordering stuff online, which means millions of packages are set to sit idle on porches all across Utah, which then could potentially become inventory for crooks. So more than 120 million packages were snatched from outside of people's homes last year. And of course, you know, it's big business for porch pirates, and it's a pain for you. So we're going to come up with 3 new to us ways to protect yourselves from porch pirates. Some of these I hadn't heard of. In fact, there may be even a bonus round in this. There's quite a few ideas and solutions to getting your packages swiped from your porch.
I knew it was happening and happening all the time, right? I just didn't realize the size and the scale. I was looking at some national numbers. If you took every single thing that was purchased on Cyber Monday, how much did you say it was spent?
$13 billion.
13
it's
billion.
predicted to be.
So if you take $13 billion worth of inventory and deliveries, and you stole every single thing on Cyber Monday, it still wouldn't hit what is stolen over the entire year. $16 billion worth of goods are stolen. 120 million packages. Imagine just wiping out all of Cyber Monday by porch pirates. That's the scale we're talking about.
Have you ever been porch pirated?
It's a great question because there's maybe. I don't have a Ring doorbell cam, so I haven't actually seen someone do it, but I have had things not show up, and then we request it. I don't know if it was stolen or if it just got lost in delivery, whatever it might be. But yeah, of course, I've never had anything. I've had things not show up.
I have thought I was porch pirated, and you know me, I was running in circles.
The
right
crackdown.
away. I'm knocking on neighbors' doors. Hey, did you see? Turns out the delivery person had placed my purchase behind the gate. And now they send photos. This is before they send photos, right? At least Amazon sends pictures of your delivery sitting right by your front door. This was before they did that. They had that amazing technology. I was running around in circles for quite some time, but I found it. It was behind the gate. Perfect spot to put it. Speaking of perfect spots, this is like the world's greatest mail delivery person who's standing at this woman's door. We found this. Dave found this on TikTok, on Court TV's TikTok channel. And he's standing out there on a Ring doorbell talking to a woman who isn't home and concerned about leaving the package out front in plain view.
Yeah, and he was describing it like this, and it's fun to hear the interaction, but he said when it's a special delivery, if it's from a family member or if it's not from a big company, then he wants to take extra precautions because some of this stuff you can just never replace. If you order something from Amazon or a big box store, then it's pretty easy to get a refund or get something resent to you. But he was specifically concerned about something from one of these uncles that sent something.
Hi, we're not home. Okay, I'm gonna take it back to the office. Oh, does that need to be signed for? No, but usually I don't leave stuff at the front if it's not from a store. Would you like me to put it inside the recycling bin? Oh, yeah, that would work. Okay. You have a wonderful day. I appreciate it.
I love that. Do you want me to put it in the recycling bin? So you could actually see it on the doorbell camera. You had the recycling bin that is just off to the side. And he said, you know what? This is from Uncle Carl or whatever the name was. It said, I don't want to. Let me take it either back to the postal, the post office, or she's like, no, it's fine. Go ahead and just leave it there. He's like, well, how about I put it inside the recycling bin where it's hidden from view? And you can hear her. She's like, yeah, that's fantastic. That's great. Well, what it ends up being is some old rare coins sent to her from her uncle. So it's irreplaceable, right? I mean, if that's stolen, you will never see that again.
So he takes the extra step to make sure it's in the recycle bin. And Tim Hughes has taken a step all of his own at his home. And just before I toss it over to you, Tim, to fill us in on what you've done, I need to make sure I just make a slight clarification here. That is not Court TV's video. It's actually a different TikTok site that's court.tv. So my apologies, but Tim, take it away.
Yeah, so I thought my wife was nuts when she wanted to do this because it required me to assemble something, and then I had to drive cement nails into the porch, which was not up my alley. But we got one of these package boxes. We call it Davy Jones' locker on the front porch that come in various sizes, and they have a code on them. So you decide what the PIN code is. It's a 4-PIN code at our house. And then when you order something in the comments box, you just put in there for delivery the 4 digits, and the delivery guy, if he's doing his job properly and is not in too much of a hurry, will punch the 4 digits. The lid opens up, he drops it in and shuts it again. It's beautiful.
That's outstanding. And I was wondering about how do you secure that, because I guess a porch pirate could always just grab the entire box, but you say you secure that into your cement?
Yeah, just big cement nails, and it takes a little work, but that's how I did it on my porch. And they come in all sizes, so they range in price. I just looked at Amazon.com, if this is helpful. Range in price from $32 to $240, but if you go online, you can find them as much as $371. in various sizes, shapes, colors, so you can have them match the siding on your house.
And remind us, were you victimized by porch pirates, or is this just your wife being extremely cautious?
No, my wife just shops a lot online. So we were in fear of losing thousands of dollars to porch pirates.
And if you've ever had to deal with returns and that kind of thing, or dealing with people replacing things online, it does seem to mitigate some of that stress, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And to my knowledge, we've never lost anything off of the porch. But as Dave was just saying, we've had things not show up, and we don't know if they were lost in shipping or if they actually got taken from us. But this has been handy for us. And there are occasions when a small package, a driver will be in a hurry and they just see it as a great place to set the package on instead of opening it up. But luckily, we've never lost any that way that we know of.
So what's the size of this thing, the one that you have?
Mine's about, I think I told you this morning, 24 inches tall by 18 inches wide, something like that.
Okay.
So you can't get big packages in there, but you can get most packages in there that you would buy clothing or shoes or something,
Thanks, Tim.
You bet.
Tell your wife to make sure she listens to our next discussion, because we're going to talk about a new insurance plan that just dropped this week. It's $10 a month. It's a company that started this program so you can buy insurance for packages. We're going to talk about that straight ahead as another new to us solution to porch pirates and protecting your packages from these thieves. And we're going to also take your live phone calls, 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Have you ever had a package pirated from your porch? Did you get a refund, or did you have to take the loss? 801-575-TALK. Let's take your live calls next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Let me tell you an amazing story. Last week, a customer came in. They were a creative director for an agency, and they were frustrated that their old, slow computer wasn't processing their files quick enough. He had a big project due and could not afford any delays. Well, we hooked him up with one of our new, powerful 2025 desktops for only $999, and he was able to complete his project with ease. Take one home today. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else do you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
Dear Santa, thank you for brightening up my Christmas. It made it a lot better. Thank you for the shoes. I'm very grateful for the presents because I usually don't get too much. So that really brightens this year up for me. Also, on behalf of my mother, thank you.
At KSL, it's our hope that every child will have a warm and joyful holiday season. Please donate generously to KSL's Quarters for Christmas.
Every dollar raised goes to buy shoes and warm clothes for Utah children in need. Give what you can at KSLQuarters.com.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So, then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. From December 4th to December 7th, the Mountain America Expo Center will transform into a winter wonderland of beautifully decorated trees, wreaths, and gingerbread houses, along with other fun-filled shops and activities. All funds raised help to create the nation's model health system for children. Together, we can make this holiday season a gift of love to change a child's life. Get tickets at festivalofTreesUtah.org.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Experience the timeless Christmas classic that has captivated audiences nationwide. Join Michael McLean, one of the most prolific songwriters and storytellers of our time, as he reprises his beloved role of Uncle John in The Forgotten Carols musical. With an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition for families everywhere. See the spectacular live show in Orem, Salt Lake, Ogden, and Cedar City. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com.
Dominion Energy customers in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho are now proudly served by Enbridge Gas. Enbridge looks forward to a bright future together. To learn more, visit EnbridgeGas.com.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, a search has ended for a missing woman from Hawaii who failed to board a flight in Los Angeles last month. Police now say they have evidence the woman purposely missed her flight and crossed the border into Mexico. Second, this week marks the 25th anniversary of UTA's track system. The train started rolling on the Blue Line the first week of December in 1999. And third, 3 more ski resorts are opening the slopes this week. Sundance scheduled to open tomorrow. Nordic Valley Friday. Powder Mountain will get the lifts running on Saturday. We're going to look for a high today. Hazy sunshine, 46 degrees, and right now 33 in Salt Lake City. Now back to David Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
David Dujanovic.
We're talking about 3 new to us ideas to battle back against porch pirates. Look, I mean, maybe that package isn't worth a lot of money. Maybe you can easily get it replaced. But if you've ever had anything stolen, then you know what it feels like to be a victim. I once had my purse stolen many, many years ago. It only had $5 in it. And it turns out that I didn't have my driver license in there. It was just the fact that I was a victim of crime that made me super sad. Yeah. So Tim Hughes of Utah's Morning News joining us just a few moments ago and talking about how he and his wife purchased a lock box for their deliveries that he has secured on his front porch. Doesn't cost a lot of money and gives them peace of mind. I love the idea of making theft more complicated for thieves. Anytime we can. Dave, you've got an idea over there that you said you'd love to share with us. We're also taking live phone calls, 801-575-TALK. When have you been the victim of a porch pirate? Pete.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
This is new. This is new to us. My wife received notice that her package had been delivered. We went out to look for it, couldn't find it. We called the company, the delivery company, said, well, here's a photograph that's been delivered. It was somebody else's porch. And as soon as we told them it wasn't our porch, they said, oh, it's not our responsibility. You got to call the company you bought the product from and get them to give you another one. So we've been jumping through the hoops ever since. But what we did to prevent theft, we took an old barbecue and we put our mailbox on the side wings of it for us and our neighbor. And the middle part where you open the lid, we took the guts out, and down below inside is where the packages go, and it's locked. So the delivery opens the lid like a barbecue, drops the package inside, closes the lid, and drives on. Then we go out there, unlock it, take the package out. So people can't see the package from the street, and they just think it's an old barbecue on the side of the road. It's got mailboxes on it.
It's incredible, Pete. I love the
Well,
creativity.
it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, that's awesome, Pete.
The mail lady loves it because we're on a busy road, 1900 West in Ogden, and she's been hit 4 times. The mailboxes are too close to the road. So we have the barbecue way off the side of the road on a asphalt parking apron, so she can get off the road to drop off our mail and not get hit by passing traffic.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, you're taking care of everybody. That's awesome, Pete.
I did not see that coming, Pete.
No.
I did not see a do-it-yourself package delivery system, and you take your old barbecue, you hollow it out, that was ingenious. Nice job. I love it. You're right. I would not think, I wonder if that's being hidden in an old barbecue.
The Wall Street Journal dropped an article that I caught. It's a new insurance solution for $10 a month, $120 a year. It's called Porch Pals, and it just launched across the United States this week. In fact, yesterday. It's called Porch Pals. It's subscription, and you get $2,000. It protects up to $2,000 in stolen deliveries. 3 claims a year you can file. It says no deductible, and that claims are paid within 72 hours. And it covers all deliveries paid with a credit or debit card, including groceries and takeout. Includes groceries and takeout. So
someone stole my Mugu Gai pan.
Would you spend $10 a month to insure the packages, or do you just roll the dice and hope you don't become a victim?
No, $10 is, quite honestly, it's nothing. With the amount of stuff that we send or have delivered every single year, obviously $120 a year, I'm sure we have that amount that is either stolen or doesn't arrive on time. It's way more affordable than I would have thought. $10? That doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah, $10. Called Porch Pals. What have you got for a solution?
Okay, so I love that secure locker that Tim was talking about, but it's this box. It has a code that the delivery driver has to actually punch in, and then they just drop it in. But then you secure that locker with cement nails into your porch. That's probably the best idea I've heard of. But have you ever heard of the porch pirate bag?
No.
So think of a trash bag, but like a heavy duty trash bag, something, built sturdy with canvas. And then what it does is it hooks onto something on like your door handle. So the one that I'm looking at right now, it actually hooks onto a door handle. And then the bag has a lock on that. So the delivery driver comes in, they put in the code, they open it up, they put it in the bag, and then it's connected to your door. So the porch pirate would have to either rip your door handle off or take the door with you.
Can you believe this?
That one seems pretty good.
Can you believe
I like the porch bag.
Yeah, I like that idea. The lengths we need to go to. We're talking about this because it is big business for porch pirates. $13 billion a year swiped off of porches last year. $13 billion swiped from porches. Something like 120 million packages plus swiped from porches across America. Safewise is an organization that does studies on this, and it's pretty prolific, and it's a pain. You know that if you've ever been a victim of crime. Sometimes it's just not about that something got stolen. It's just the hoops you have to go through after. And then you feel violated. I mean, you feel like somebody violated your space. One of the things I've done with one company, I'm trying to figure out how to do this with Amazon, is I ask deliveries to be delivered to the back. But with Amazon, I still have them delivered to my porch. So I ordered something like a Christmas gift online like last week for my son. And I walked outside the other night, and I do have the notification set. So Amazon alerts me. It's great. They send the photo. I love that. I walked outside, and there was this big package sitting out front, unwrapped. Like it wasn't disguised at all. It was just the box, and you could see what was in it. And I thought, well, that's one I would have wanted to send to the back. So that's my bad. I mean, I didn't. So is there a way that I could leave something in the notes or the instructions or something like that you were talking about?
Yeah, the instructions, the special memo, the comments, you can type something in there and say, hey, stuff it under this couch or put it behind this chair, or make sure you set it on the left side behind the planter. You can add those little things. But again, if you have one of these lockers or a bag, then you can put in the code like, hey, 2432
in the notes.
Oh,
it's good to know.
Now, that doesn't guarantee that your delivery driver is going to look at it or has the time to do it, but I think if you have a consistent delivery driver,
I feel like they do a pretty good job. I just didn't think. I thought you had to push a special button or something like that. But that's one of the things. Like when you walk, that was a large box. I don't think even if I had a delivery box, just a lock box, it would have fit in it.
His new motorcycle is not going to fit in a box because you ordered the motorcycle online.
Look, I got really creative with my kids' Christmas gifts this year. I'm expecting another rather large delivery for my daughter. Maybe I should put it in the notes. No.
What is it, Deb? Tell us no one will tell your kids.
Straight ahead, the paint seems like it barely had time to dry.
No one explicitly told me, the homeowner who this affects most, you're going to have a red curb right in front of your house. This is why you should come to this meeting. It was, here are some of the developments that are going on your
An
street.
Ogden resident repainting the red curb outside her house. The parking dispute. We launch into that at 10:05.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. Small plane had to make an emergency landing on I-15 in Payson last night. Utah Highway Patrol says the plane experienced some kind of engine failure, but when it touched down, it caused a chain reaction crash with several cars.
The plane wasn't very well lit and had several vehicles crash into the airplane and into each other.
UHP Sergeant Jeremy Matthews says 5 cars were involved. He told 4 people were taken to the hospital with injuries ranging from moderate to severe. Matthews says nobody in the plane was hurt. Our top national story this hour, South Korea's president has declared martial law across the entire country today. Protesters have been demonstrating outside the National Assembly building in Seoul. ABC's Joo-hee Cho says it's not entirely known why President Yoon Suk-yeol did this, but also says there's been tension between the new president and the opposition party over budget measures.
With approval ratings of the president at below 20%, I don't think this could go far. But he declared the martial law, and we'll probably see some tanks and military forces in the morning.
In addition to prohibiting political assemblies, the decree makes South Korean media professionals subject to arrest. Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average is down 176 points right now. The NASDAQ is up, but just by about 11. And our KSL weather. That inversion still with us. That's next. KSL News, 10:01.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
The Advanced Window Products end-of-season sale is happening now. Your chance to get beautiful new state-of-the-art windows and save a bundle on your energy bill. Call Advanced Window Products now, and they'll give you $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. We're talking about custom frames and sealed double-pane glass, any style, any color, and they're created just for you right here in Utah. You need a doggy door inlaid into the glass? They do it all the time. In fact, Advanced Window Products has been building the highest quality windows here in Salt Lake City for 38 years. So there's no middleman and you save money. They build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So keep the heat inside with new windows. The energy companies will even give you a rebate. Advanced Window Products offers 0% financing, affordable monthly payments, and now $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call them right now, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
Don't you deserve healthcare you can count on? Well, you can count on United Healthcare with Medicare plans that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. You can enjoy reliable coverage and low out-of-pocket costs with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. United Healthcare Medicare Advantage plans. Made for Utah, trusted everywhere. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today.
Get up to a 30% upfront bonus to use for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year to help grow your retirement income. Whether you're in retirement or will be retiring within 10 years, Trajan Wealth can offer some of the highest guarantees in the business. I'm Jeff Jr. with Trajan Wealth, and I know no one wants to work forever. We all need to retire someday, and I know you've worked hard for your money, so now is the time to guarantee it. Take advantage of up to a 30% upfront bonus for your retirement income, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't woulda, shoulda, coulda. Get up to a 30% bonus just for opening an account, or up to 12% per year for retirement income. Don't leave your retirement to chance. Retire the right way, the Trajan way, with Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Annuity guarantees are based on the claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. DBA in most states says Trajan Wealth Insurance Solutions.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com, your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Emergency traffic now, brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. Here's Michelle Rowe.
This is due to a multi-car crash southbound I-15 in Centerville just prior to 400 North, still blocking the two left lanes. Traffic is backing up to the Farmington split. You may want to use an alternate. I would suggest maybe Legacy if you can swing that this morning. We also have had a crash that is just in the clearing stages. This is 600 North, 300 West for drivers as they're making way southbound on 300 West. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture. Original blanket, luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off your purchase. Visit minkycouture.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
The winter air inversion remains in place over the Wasatch Front. Pollution is trapped. Cold front, though, coming in this weekend could help conditions improve. And right now, 35 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, it begins as a road widening project in Ogden, which includes bike lanes and some updates to the sewer line, have resulted in some changes and new parking restrictions in the area. And in a moment, we're going to speak to a resident who painted over a red curb that had been painted by the city in front of her home, which meant nobody could park there anymore. So far, this is what we've heard from Andrea.
No one explicitly told me, the homeowner who this affects most, you're going to have a red curb right in front of your house. This is why you should come to this meeting. It was, here are some of the developments that are going on your street. Come to an open house if you have any questions.
That was from KSL TV's Brett Johnson. And one of the things that stands out to me when I hear, hey, you got to come to that meeting. This was announced on our city website. It's like the iTunes service agreement. Like, it's there. Technically, the information is out there, but nobody is actually going through it with a fine-tooth comb. So just because it's in existence does not necessarily mean that it's really communicating to the residents. So this is a massive change. If all of a sudden you go out and the city says you could no longer park in front of your house, that is a massive change, and you got to make sure the residents understand that.
Andrea, are you there?
I'm here.
Andrea Baltazar, is that how I say your last name?
Correct. Yeah.
Nice to have you on the line today. So you're the Ogden resident who painted over. Did you paint over the red curb? Did you paint it white?
I did. I tried to paint it back to what it was originally.
So walk us through how this went down.
Well, I come home from a long day of work. Obviously, construction right in front of my house has been going on for a few months now, and so that that's a frustration that we've all been dealing with. To find that my entire curb right in front of my house, from Brinker to Harrison, on both sides of the street, were painted red with no explanation, no prior knowledge that this was going to be a huge change to the street being widened right in front of my house.
So did they add bike lanes? Is that what happened?
No, bike lanes existed before. Supposedly, 20th Street is part of the 2016 bike path master plan. And I think, if I remember correctly, there were bike lanes in front of our house before. We never had a red curb. It was fine the way it was. I was just expecting that they were going to widen the street to allow for, the traffic that does pass through 20th Street, which gets pretty busy. It was filled with potholes. Not necessarily expecting that this was going to be a huge change. And like you said earlier, when an entire block is painted red without direct, explicit communication to homeowners and how it will impact their daily lives, it feels like the decision was imposed on us and not necessarily made with us.
So, Andrea, you see this red curb now in front of your house, and it sounds like it was beyond the front of your house. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so it's on both sides of the street on 20th Street. Yeah.
So on 20th Street in Ogden, red curb painted. What did you do next?
So what I did was I took it. I spoke to one of my neighbors about it. One of my neighbors who has been to the prior meetings, is watching this project closely. I asked him, "Did you know that a red curb was going to be painted right in front of our house?" And he said, "I had no idea." He asked one of the subcontractors who was painting the bike lane in if that was going to affect our parking, and he told them, yeah, they're going to be painting they're going to paint the curb red tomorrow. So he had no prior notification before they even did any of this. None of us had any prior notification that this was going to happen. So I took it upon myself to send a message to the city that that your lack of communication is unacceptable. Especially when they failed to do the things that needed to be done to reach out to the citizens that this was happening.
I'm trying to picture it in my mind, but I know sometimes with bike lanes, when people park on the side of the road, that it encroaches over into the bike lane. If you were to park alongside the curb, does it encroach into the bike lanes?
It does. It absolutely does. But if you drive down Harrison, there are bike lanes on both sides of the road there, and cars park right in front of their house, right onto the bike lane, and even halfway onto the sidewalk as well. And none of those houses, those residents' curbs are painted red.
So we're speaking right now to Andrea Baltazar. She's an Ogden resident. She and her neighbors have now no parking zone, or did, in front of their home. And we're going to speak to the city of Ogden in just a few minutes, Andrea. But so did you go out there with a bucket of white paint and then start rolling over, with a roller or a paintbrush?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just came out there and painted over it.
So how did that go? I mean, as
you can imagine, right? I got calls the next day, that same week, about what happened in that area. I let them know that that's, the city can't arbitrarily paint over a curb without letting residents know that this was happening. That's not fair to us. It's disingenuous. There's a lack of clear communication with the residents. And, now it feels like anytime you would talk to anyone, they will just tell you it is what it is. It's been in the master plan. It was available for you to see, and we can't change it. And I don't think that's true. I think that one, clear communication was never there. I didn't know that this was happening at all. And I will tell you, if I had known that a red curb was going to be painted right in front of my house, I would have been at any and all of those meetings to talk about that.
Andrea, are there a lot of cyclists who use that bike lane from what you can tell from your perspective?
From what I can tell, no. 20th Street is a super busy street. Why would any cyclist realistically drive across it? I mean, it's labeled as an artillery road. It goes straight to the freeway for people to go onto the freeway, north and southbound side, and it's a steep lane. So I've never seen really any cyclists who ride up and down 20th Street to get to Harrison or anywhere else.
What's your next move before we let you go?
I'm planning to go to the city council meeting tonight at 6 p.m. to get my statement out on public comments and hold city officials accountable. And I invite anyone from the city of Ogden, specifically 20th Street, who may have the same feelings towards how disingenuous and non-communicative the city has been with its residents regarding projects like this.
So has the city repainted your white curb back to a red curb?
Not as of yet. Not yet. The street is still not open, and I don't know what their plans are. No one has discussed any of that with me.
Andrea Baltazar, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we'll keep in touch. Thanks so much for the calling in and giving us what's going on from your perspective. Straight ahead, Mike McBride, who's with the city of Ogden, calling the show live to give us the city's side of this parking dispute. Next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the best investments I ever made into my house was getting a water softener from Connecticut. Now, that may not be something you think of as far as an investment into a house, but think of all the places that your water is running through the guts of your house, behind the walls. You don't realize what's going on. And soft water, in my experience, is so much easier on the expensive appliances that I have. The water heater, obviously, I've had water heaters with hard water and water heaters with soft water, and the ones with soft water lasted so much longer because I didn't have to deal with all the hard water corrosion. And in fact, that's great. But I love the way it makes my skin feel. It's so much easier on my skin when I have soft water in the house, and that's why I've loved Connecticut of Utah. They came out, walked us through the entire process. They installed it in a matter of just a few hours, and it just hums along wonderfully. It's effective. It's mechanical. I don't have to set it up or reprogram it. It just runs 24/7 soft water all the time. So if you're ready for soft water in your house, you want to make that investment, give Connecticut of Utah a call. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. Or check them out online at softwaterutah.com.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
Your health and well-being are on sale. I'm not kidding, because since I lost 34 pounds on the SOTA weight loss program, I've been the healthiest I've been. I'm 60. I'm healthier now than I was 20 years ago because I'm not carrying around all that weight.
Right.
I can walk, and I love walking outside and going, to do things with my kids. I'm happier because I'm more engaged in things. I'm not fighting my clothes all the time, trying to get something to button up. It's just an easier, happier lifestyle. And right now, holiday savings like never before at Soda Weight Loss.
Soda Weight Loss is the place to go, and SodaWeightLoss.com the place to get started. You realize with the average weight loss of 2 to 3 pounds for the average female and 3 to 5 for the average male by New Year's. Between Thanksgiving and New Year's, you could lose 20 pounds.
Because you lose that every week.
And you change your life for the rest of your life. Let go of the weight once and for all. Go to SodaWeightLoss.com. It's spelled SOTA, and it stands for State of the Art.
Presenting a Gain Flings love story. Dear love of my life, we were on the 12B bus this morning when I caught a whiff. A scent so fresh, so life-changing, I had to find its source. Alas, I didn't know if you were the woman in the pink freshly washed cardigan or the retired mailman next to me, but I knew one of you was my soulmate. Ah, the scent of Gain Flings. Try Gain Flings with OxyBoost and Febreze.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the situation in South Korea where the president has declared martial law is changing by the minute. Second, 4 people on the ground were injured when a light plane landed on I-15 in Payson last night. Third, an Air Force team was called in to dispose of an old artillery shell at a home in Grantsville. Right now, 35 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
We just hung up the phone with Andrea Baltazar. She's an Ogden resident who's fighting back against this red curb that was painted in front of her home and her neighbor's home. No parking zone that wasn't there until she drives home from work one day and sees this curb painted red.
So I come home from a long day of work. Obviously, construction right in front of my house has been going on for a few months now. And so that, that's a frustration that we've all been dealing with. To find that my entire curb right in front of my house from Brinker to Harrison on both sides of the street were painted red with no explanation, no prior knowledge that this was going to be a huge change to the street being widened right in front of my house.
Now, one of the great shocks of my life is that the curb and the parking spots right out in front of my house, they're not actually mine. They don't belong to me, right? It belongs to the city, and it's public parking. Even though it's in front of my house, it's not necessarily mine. That's a tough one to swallow. But there's no question it is an enormous inconvenience. And I think there's a general understanding that, you know what, that's your side of the street. That's your house. Those are your parking places. So to have it all painted red, of course I understand the frustration there.
Well, she went out and painted over it with white paint. And this is over, a road construction project. Apparently some bike lanes are there as well. And now there's this no parking zone. Well, now that it's painted white, perhaps it's no longer a no parking zone, but let's ask the city what they plan to do about it. Mike McBride, Ogden City's public information officer, live on the line with us right now. What does the city plan to do with this now white curb that is out in front of Andrea's home?
Yeah, good morning.
Hi.
We are listening to the neighbors. They've come and they've spoken at City Council, and we certainly acknowledge and understand their frustration. The city, in developing that improvement on 20th Street, really we are committed to safe travel lanes, of course, for the whole city. That's an arterial road, like Andrea mentioned. It's a very busy road. And so in planning, we plan for active transportation, meaning we want to integrate bike lanes and make sure that there is space that's safe for everyone. And so you can't really integrate bike lanes with travel lanes. Those create conflict zones that are really dangerous just for pedestrians. And so that's why those curbs are red.
So how common is it, and how much traffic are you getting from bikers that necessitates removing essentially all street parking along that block?
It's really interesting. We're in the middle of our general plan update, which is really kind of the guiding document to how we grow together. And 92% of respondents, and there's been thousands of respondents, say that active transportation, meaning bike lanes, are either important or very important to them. So we have to listen, to the whole community when we're making these plans. But as far as the quantity goes, I don't really necessarily have a way to quantify the use. I do know on other arterial roads such as Harrison, it gets quite a bit of use. You see bikes out, very, very commonly.
So, Mike, I just want to go back to what you said a few seconds ago before Dave asked you that question. You said that's why these lanes or those curbs are painted red. But Andrea has just joined us and said she's painted them back to white. What do you plan as a city to do about that?
We know that the residents are frustrated with that. It's never really a good idea to deface public property like that. But right now, because of engineering standards and life safety reasons, the curb needs to be red, at least for the time being. We've asked our public services director to take a look at that, really reevaluate the safety and the design, and even consider if that bike path would become a sharrow in order to create more space for the potential of parking there. But really, it's that design is all considering life safety and efficiency. And so we need to make sure that we're not just looking, of course, the residents and their livelihood is very important. We also need to make sure that the roads are safe.
So what's the alternative for the residents? Do they just have to park along a surface street or a side street near their home?
No. Well, all of those homes through that area, they do have driveways. And along with this project, we made sure that their approaches were repaved so that they meet up to the crown right for the road. So, their driveways, all the homes there have at least room for 2 cars or more in their driveways.
We're joined now by Mike McBride with he's public information officer with the city of Ogden. We're talking to him because we just spoke to a homeowner who lives in an area. It's a construction zone right now for the road. They're doing some infrastructure, and it sounds like some road widening there. And she came home, and she has no parking zone now in front of her house. And so she went outside and repainted over it. What is now, Mike, in terms of the next steps? She says she's coming to the meeting tonight, the city council meeting, to have her voice heard. In terms of notifying residents in the future, because she said she didn't feel like the city appropriately notified her that this specific issue, this red paint, was going to go on the curb in front of her house. Do you guys does the city have plans to improve its notification system with residents, maybe do some door knocking in the future when something like this is going to happen?
It's important to meet people where they're at, and I don't intend for this to sound disingenuous at all, but we acknowledged her lived experience with this. And the fact is, there were public meetings, there were door hangers, door knocking happened, direct email happened, direct mail happened. It's not just on the website, so it's everywhere. But really, the unfortunate reality is that she was not aware of red curb going, and it sounds like some of the neighbors weren't either. But in the initial outreach for the public meeting, that's the opportunity really to, and it says it right here on the invitation, we want to make sure that folks understand impacts to their property. And that's the whole purpose for those meetings. So we have a public involvement team that's their whole purpose during construction processes, is to make sure that, they're reaching out to folks and really keeping people up to speed with, I guess, the current status of the projects, but it doesn't necessarily always dive into the exact details of, striping and that sort of thing. And really, it's unfortunate that it happens this way sometimes, but engagement often happens once somebody has felt the impact rather than early on, the way that we really hope that it would happen. But yeah, moving forward in the future, I know that we'll always continue to have these contracted public involvement folks, but awareness of impacts to residents is really a critical part of notification, and we really just want to make sure that we're all always aware of that.
But at least from my understanding, as you're describing these things, it sounds like two things can't coexist: the street parking, the bike lanes, the car lanes as well. It just doesn't seem like there's enough room on the street to have all three of those exist.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And one of the challenges with 20th Street and widening it is there was no more space. It's never popular to take yard space away to widen a project, right? You don't want to do that. And in doing that, it really wasn't possible anyways because of setback requirements on the homes. I mean, there are a lot of homes there, and they are already very close to the road, so that wasn't even an option. And like I mentioned, these conflict zones, when you have cars and bikes in the same space, that you have to make sure that those are clearly defined, and really it's just about life safety. Now, also, there are engineering requirements for turn pockets. So, Andrea lives next to a right turn pocket, and that curb is going to be read up to a certain point there anyways because of the right turn pocket, not even considering the bike lane.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time to join us. Mike McBride is with Ogden City. He's the public information officer there. Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has been tracking this story. We appreciate her initial reports on this, and we'll continue to track it with her help as well right here on our show to see what happens, to see if any changes are made to the curb, the red curb, and this parking dispute.
Yeah, it really ends up being what, as a city, are you prioritizing? Are you prioritizing the parking of these residents, or are you prioritizing the safe travel lanes and the bike lanes? And if you choose the bike lanes, then the sacrifice is parking outside of your house.
Straight ahead, having a positive attitude can actually add years to your life. We'll go in depth on that next.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour: police in Grantsville had to have homes in the neighborhood shelter in place for a while on Sunday because of a World War II-era artillery shell that had been found.
When they had found it, that it was just kind of laying in the dirt, maybe a little bit covered up, but it was not buried or hidden.
Unified Fire Authority's Benjamin Porter says the owner of the property died recently. The shell was found by family members who were cleaning up. The Air Force was called in to dispose of the shell. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: South Korea's president has declared martial law across the country, while its National Assembly has voted to lift martial law. President Yoon Suk-yeol says he did it to protect South Korea from North Korean communist forces. The proclamation prohibits any denial that the country has a liberal democratic system. The Secret Service says one of its agents fired at suspects outside the home of Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen this morning. The agency says the agent noticed the suspects trying to open car doors on the street. That led to a confrontation. Doesn't appear, though, anyone was hit by the bullets. Your money at this moment: the Dow Jones average is down 82 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ is down just about 2. And our KSL weather. We've got sunshine, but the air pollution lingers. That's next. KSL News Time 10:32.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
One of the things I love about Master Electrical Service is that they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services, which creates this amazing one-stop shop.
Yeah, think about all the things that you can have done with just one phone call to Mountain Home Services. They've got your electrical needs covered. They've got your HVAC, that heating and air issue that you need to have addressed. They've got that covered. Maybe you need a new HVAC system. They're your go-to.
Yeah, plumbing, generators, recessed lighting, and now fireplaces. You may not realize that, but it fits perfectly with Mountain Home Services because they are experts in all these things. With the plumbing and the gas, all of this, it gets you that beautiful fireplace.
That's right. And that all comes, of course, with that upfront pricing guarantee that Dave and I have been telling you about, which means there are no hidden fees. The price that they quote you up front is the price that you pay when the job is done.
Go ahead and reach out to Mountain Home Services by going to their website, mountainhomeutah.com. That's mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can give them a call at 801-543-2222. Again, that phone number is 801-543-2222.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Does it matter?
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. And here's Michelle Rowe.
We are coming out of emergency traffic. We did have a crash in Centerville. This is just before Parish Lane. Traffic is still backed up to the Farmington split, but the crash has cleared and the speeds are improving. Other than that, we're pretty quiet on I-15 from Ogden all the way to Provo. The Christ Kringle Market, December 4th through the 7th at This Is the Place Heritage Park, has more booths, food, entertainment, and free nearby parking and shuttle. Details and map. Visit thisistheplace.org. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
The winter air inversion remains in place over the Wasatch Front, trapping pollution and reducing air quality. A cold front coming in this weekend could help conditions improve. And right now, 36 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
You know, when you're young, this stuff doesn't bother you, but when you get to be my age and you hear somebody say, like Jane Fonda say, I'm going to show you and tell you how to live 7.5 years longer, just by looking at aging differently. I'm all ears, and we're going to talk about that right now.
Yeah, I think this is such a fascinating conversation because I have a major problem with the way we look at age as we get older and older. It's like an expiration date on food in the fridge. You know, we learned from Matt Gephardt that the expiration dates on the food in the fridge, really, there's no standard out there. It's kind of arbitrary. They're just thrown on there. And just because it's expired doesn't mean it's bad. That's how I see us as we're getting older. Now, Father Time is undefeated, right? We are going to get old, and we're going to slow down. We're going to pass away, right? But we don't know if that's going to be at 65, 75, 85, 95, 105.
Just gloss over that and pass away. Okay.
And pass away, yeah. We see someone with gray or silver hair, and then all of a sudden we're like, oh, you're too old. And I think comedian Bill Maher had a fantastic thing to say about ageism.
What a mind-blowing concept that must be to the younger generations for whom writing someone off simply for their age is the last acceptable prejudice. Oh, yes. They hate every ism except ageism. It's completely forbidden to tell any joke about race, gender, religion, weight, but age? Have at it.
Ageism is the only prejudice that we've held on to. Well, I look at it, I think, you know what? It's unfair. And I've complained about that for a long time, even with criticisms to President Joe Biden. I thought, obviously, he's slowed down. There's some issues. He's proven that to be the case. But I think too quickly we just say, oh, he's old or she's old. She can't do that. And I think it's a mindset problem.
And that's exactly what we're going to get into right now is the mindset shift that Jane Fonda, of course, very well-known actress, creeping into her late 80s. But boy, she's just got so much energy. And CBS Sunday Morning produced a video. I happened to catch it on TikTok the other night. It's several minutes long. We're going to break it down here. And it was fabulous. It was an instantaneous mindset shift for me at 57 years old, staring down the road at 60. And so she teams up on this video with author Ashton Applewhite, who's written a lot about ageism. So let's listen to parts of it.
People with more positive age beliefs lived an average of 7.5 years longer than people who equated aging with disease and decline.
In other words, one way to live longer is just to have a good attitude. But society is doing literally everything it can to make sure we don't have a good attitude. From the beauty industry,
simply ageless,
to what we see every day in the news.
Questions are being raised now. How old is too old to remain in office?
Lots of people assume we'll end up in the nursing homes, when in fact, less than 3% of us do.
So the belief here, or at least the research they've found here, is that by changing this mindset, like I'm old, I'm going to be old, I'm going to act old, that by changing this into more positivity, that you can actually add almost 8 years to your life.
I love it. I love it. This made me feel very, very hopeful. Sometimes I get like maybe this morning, for example, I rolled out of bed barely and went, oh, my back hurts. And it did. It really hurt. And I thought, there's something wrong. My mind immediately went, well, this is when the wheels start to fall off. My negative attitude, my Debbie Downer moment at 4:45 in the morning. That's basically how I started my day. But then I thought about this video that I'd watched, and it just shifted my attitude right away. Like, maybe if I just stretched, I might feel a lot better. Guess what? I felt so much better after that stretch. They also talk in this video about using the phrase senior moment. And I've been guilty of using this phrase. The other day, I had a moment on the air where you had to fill in the blanks for me. And occasionally from time to time, we do that for each other, right? That's why it's great to have a co-host on the show. When you forget a word like you just forget sometimes where you were going with something. And I have been known to internalize that as, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of Alzheimer's. I went home and I told my kids it's not looking good that day. Dave had to fill in the words for me. And they said, it's not that, Mom. You're just tired. I'm like, no, maybe that's it too.
Of course, that doesn't stop us from talking about our senior moments.
Oh, senior moment. Young people forget things too all the time. When I lost the car keys in high school, I didn't call it a junior moment. We are so brainwashed to equate old age with disease and decline and badness.
All that stuff will lead you to believe that getting older is terrible. That's not just a little insulting, it's wrong. Come on, show me the science, Ashton.
People are happiest at the beginnings and the ends of their lives. It's called the U-curve of happiness, and it's been borne out by dozens of studies around the world.
No wonder it looks like a smiley face.
I love this. The U-curve of happiness. Do you buy into that?
Yes,
you
I do. Yeah, I mean, mostly. I think certainly there's children who have very, very difficult childhoods.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that, we recognize that. You and I have certainly
Broad
as
brush
journalists.
strokes, yeah.
But you and I as journalists have covered those tragedies of children, right? But I think for the most part, just speaking from my life, and hopefully my kids say the same thing, is that we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun, carefree, not a ton of responsibility. And now that I've raised my kids and I am mostly an empty nester, life's pretty chill now. It's pretty simple now. And I do feel like, looking back, that time of my life where I was starting a career, getting through college, starting a career, getting my first job, getting my next job, working my way up the career ladder, that was stressful.
Yeah.
It was very stressful. Getting married, buying homes, selling homes, that's a stressful time. There's also a lot of awesome times baked into that as well. But life is kind of coasting right now. And when you look back on how kind of complex things are when you're raising kids or when you're in your 20s and you're trying to just prove yourself at work, you realize that was more difficult than what I'm doing right now. Like last night, I'll be honest with you, I was going to go to the gym and do a Zumba class. And you know what was on television? Monday Night Football. So I baked a pizza, homemade, and I sat there in front of the television and watched me some Monday Night Football. And then I went to bed.
That is the U curve of happiness right
Yes.
there. The U curve of happiness. Monday Night Football, sitting and eating a pizza. I think the question I have is, can we adjust that? And that's where this argument comes in, that you can actually expand that U curve of happiness, that you can actually increase some of those later years by living longer, by changing your mindset. My mom will say occasionally, think old, be old. If you think you're too old to do something, then you probably are. I didn't even think about this. We went on a cruise several years ago. My mom was, I think, 74, 75 years old. We went on a ropes course. It was like zip lining and ropes course, and I take my mom with me. I don't even think another thing about it because I'm like, oh, mom will be fine. We are crossing wobbly bridges that require balance. We're hooked on with like safety tether lines. My mom's, again, 75 years old. I'm like, come on, Mom, this will be great. And she did. She came all the way with us. It was zip lining because I don't think of my mom as old. And she doesn't think of herself as old. And she's able to do all of these cool things. Now, listen, does she get a little bit sore in the morning? Is it a little bit, creaky bones? No question. But I think there really is something to this, that if you think young and you stay active, that you can extend your life. I totally buy into this.
So straight ahead, let's talk about solutions. There is a specific solution that just intrigued me when I was watching this video produced by CBS Sunday Morning. And it has to do with I'll tell you in 3 minutes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and if you're looking for a great way to take care of your party planning, or make sure that you give the perfect gift, or have the special night out with the person you love, I want you to remember Ruth's Chris Steakhouse. Ruth's Chris Steakhouse will make this holiday season perfect, and they do it with 2 wonderful locations. There's Hotel Park City and, of course, downtown Salt Lake City. And during the holiday season, to plan a day up in the mountains, shop on the main street of Park City, do a little skiing, whatever it might be, and then wrap up the day at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, it's absolutely perfect. In downtown Salt Lake City, all of the decorations, the lights, the concerts, the sporting events, everything that makes the holiday season wonderful. It's time to make your reservations. It's time to plan your party. And it's time to pick up the gift card, the perfect stocking stuffer at Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, downtown Hotel Park City.
Join the KSL Movie Show this Friday at Minky Couture in Layton. Listen for exclusive movie show discounts for the best gift ever, a Minky blanket from Minky Couture.
How was your drive to school?
Let me tell you, I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
Ooh, we got a question. Brian W. asks, it's the holiday season and I'm looking for deals. Is Xfinity having a Black Friday sale?
Well, Brian, we got you covered. Get iPhone 16 Pro on us. Just ask us how. Plus, you can also get fast, reliable Xfinity Internet with a line of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited for a great low price.
So don't wait. Bring home a new iPhone 16 Pro built for Apple Intelligence.
And connect to reliable 5G and Wi-Fi speeds up to a gig on Xfinity Mobile.
That's a big deal.
More like a gig deal.
Now through December 3rd, ask how to get the new iPhone 16 Pro on us with an unlimited Plus line. Plus, get Xfinity Gigabit Internet with free Wi-Fi equipment for only $25 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com/Black Friday sale to learn more. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Gig Wi-Fi requires Xfinity Gateway. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Gig speeds available via hotspots to Xfinity Mobile customers only. Reduced speeds after use of monthly data included with your data option. Actual internet speeds and data thresholds may vary.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can I make my side softer?
Can I make my side firmer?
Can we sleep cooler?
Sleep Number does that. Cools up to 8 times faster and lets you choose your ideal comfort on either side. Your Sleep Number setting. And now, during our Cyber Week sale, save 20% on most Sleep Number smart beds, plus free home delivery with any base. Limited time. All Sleep Number smart beds offer temperature solutions for your best sleep. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, a military weapons disposal team was called in to get rid of a World War II-era artillery shell at a home in Grantsville. Second, South Korea's president has proclaimed martial law in his country, while the National Assembly immediately said no. And third, a big donor matching contributions this year made on the giving machines set up by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. 36 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, we're teaching ourselves how to live up to 7.5 years longer. And with the help of actress Jane Fonda and an author who's spent a significant amount of time writing about age. Apparently, a lot of this goes to just looking at age differently, changing how we think about growing old.
In part, I think it's more than just positive thinking, though. I like what they have to say, and they were giving some really good examples of what it really means to change your outlook, of being younger or acting younger. Because, and we're going to play a nice little clip here about how to add these years on your life. There's actually some practical steps that you can take.
Yeah. One of the things they bring up in this video that was produced by CBS Sunday Morning, I happened to see it on TikTok. So did our producer, Caitlin. We both messaged each other and thought this would be a great topic for the show, because I think as you get older, you do lean into the idea that, wow, When you're younger, you don't think about it as much. You don't think about, oh, yeah, I'm going to be old one day. Like, I remember being young and wondering when I was finally going to be able to drive a car. That's how young I was. And now I've been driving a car for way too long. You know what I mean? Now I'm wondering when I can afford to Uber it everywhere because I don't want to be on the road with y'all. Like, I'm the problem. That's why. So one of the solutions that they talk about in this video with Jane Fonda and Ashton Applewhite, who's written a lot about age and ageism, is a sense of community. So being involved with the community, look, last night I sat at home alone with a homemade pizza and I watched an NFL game. That's probably not considered community. Now, if I would have gotten up off the couch and gone to the Zumba class that I'd planned on going to, then I blew off. Probably more of a sense of community there, right? They're saying hello, we're asking each other how our Thanksgivings went, and then we're dancing. I don't dance well, but we dance. They also talk about taking a particular class as well. And this one surprised me, and it also made me happy.
So what do we need to make that happiness curve rise? Do we need perfect health?
Nope.
Money?
Nope.
Microdosing?
I cannot answer that with a straight face.
I give up.
It's having a solid community, the most important component of a good old age.
I know what you're about to say. How do I build community if I don't already have one? There's a million ways to do it, but I'm going to talk about one that you can start right away from almost anywhere. Art classes are a great way to build community.
We know that being in community is good for us. We know that having purpose is good for us. But the health benefits of being in art class in specific, it turns out, are fascinating.
A National Endowment for the Arts study found art classes for older adults increased mental engagement, increased physical activity. They found new or stronger relationships.
They visit the doctor less often. They are less likely to fall. And I define art broadly.
Singing,
theater,
dance,
flower arranging,
graffiti.
My aunt is 83, 84 years old, and she dances every week. She has a dance group that she gets together with. And I love that. I love that it's not just an art class. It is just being engaged in so many different things. You know, I'm a big pickleball player, Deb. It might surprise you. A third of what we call core pickleball players, which is, you know, very active, involved pickleball players, a third of them are over the age of 65. It is just one of these booming sports that, and there are a few games that I've played, and I've played all the sports, few things that are as engaging as pickleball.
So can you expand on that?
So a lot of times, like I will never play baseball with my 80-year-old mom, right? Like the hand-eye coordination, we're not going to go out there and field grounders. It's one of the few games out there where young and old can play together and play competitively and have fun.
How so?
It's just one of those weird games that on some level, it doesn't matter really what your age is. You can learn to be good. So you can actually compete one against one another. And when there's real competition, then it is fun for everybody involved. So my mom, again, she's 79 years old. I've got a 14-year-old son. They play pickleball together competitively. We play and have fun, and we're enjoying it. There's not a lot of sports out there like that, but pickleball ends up being one. So you have this fun mix of 14-year-olds interacting with grandparents. Then you got some parents in there at the same time. And I love the community that it builds.
So because I've never played pickleball and rarely have watched the sport unless I'm driving by a pickleball court and happen to take a glance, I don't know a lot about the game at all. I grew up playing tennis. I love playing tennis and have wanted to get back into tennis and see if I could turn it into a side hustle. Maybe I could take people on in a few tournaments. But tennis requires a ton of running up and down the court, especially if you're playing singles. And I prefer to play singles. And that does concern me to some extent because we know that I have been prone to falling, not for any other reason other than bad, crazy luck.
Yeah.
Like, who put the stairs right here? That kind of luck, you know. Who left this slippery wrapper on my back patio that I slipped and fell on? Bad luck, right? Wind probably blew it in. Does pickleball require a lot of movement around the court?
No, short bursts. And depending on how good you are, you can expand it or contract it. If you want to play a leisurely, just kind of social game, there's a group for that. If you want to be highly competitive, there's a group for that. And at all ages, all skill levels is perfect. So if you're nursing some injuries or maybe you're not super mobile, there is a group for that.
And you play doubles.
You can play doubles or singles.
So
Largely, it's doubles, though.
Okay, I want to get back to the art classes that they talked about on the CBS morning news video, Sunday morning video. Fabulous video. It gives me so much hope. I love the idea of art classes because it doesn't require you to be some sort of like semi-pro athlete, for example. Or maybe you have some restrictions, and you're not as mobile as you once were. But the idea of just going to, I love art. And you're a doggone good artist, by the way. Yeah, you just spend a lot of time doodling in the breaks from time to time just to blow off that steam after you deal with me for 7 minutes. And I look over and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And I'm not as good as you, but I'm not half bad. And I'd love to take like a painting course. And I've been putting that off. And I have a coupon to take a painting course that my kids bought me for my birthday. And I've been wanting to enroll in that. And this is it's the kind of motivation that I need to get involved in something like that. Painting, love pottery. Don't know if I like the idea of graffiti, but maybe I would. There's a lot of really cool, artists who do graffiti professionally. So maybe I would. So that, to me, would easily build community. And you're sitting around doing cool art and you're talking to people and you're having a lot of laughs and you're getting to know people and you're in the same class. Maybe you're in the same class every week and you really get to know people and you're building that sense of community even outside of that class.
And I think one of the things that holds us back is we're self-conscious. I don't want to look like a fool. I'm a bad artist, so I don't want anyone to see my bad art, or I'm a bad athlete. So you know what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares that you're a bad artist. Just go out there and have some fun. And to think that it could add almost 8 years to your life, what an incredible thing. I think we too quickly age ourselves. We can be incredibly active. I love this.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, fewer Americans getting vaccinated now, according to the Washington Post. A spokesperson for the Salt Lake County Health Department, Nicholas Rupp, says here in Utah, we've seen a slight downtick in vaccinations for flu, RSV, and COVID.
Just about 300 fewer, but not different enough that we're alarmed.
Rupp says we're a few weeks away from the height of seasonal illnesses, so if you want to get a vaccine, now's the time. Recently, there's been an increase of COVID hospitalizations in Salt Lake County. Our top national story this hour from ABC News, the South Korean parliament has voted to defy the country's president and immediately lift his martial law declaration. President Yoon Suk-yeol declared martial law late Tuesday, vowing to eliminate anti-state forces as he struggles against an opposition that controls the country's National Assembly. He accuses them of sympathizing with communist North Korea. President Biden has become the first sitting U.S. president to visit Angola this week. The president met with his counterpart there, also promoting a business partnership and also marking what he called America's original sin of slavery.
While history can be hidden, it cannot and should not be erased. It should be faced. It's our duty to face our history, the good, the bad, and the ugly, the whole truth.
And the president said a large number of African Americans have roots in Angola. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down on the day right now, 34 points. The NASDAQ is up about 35. And our KSL weather looks like sunshine through the rest of the week, but air pollution building up. That's KSL News Time, 11:01.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Lovebirds, you're in for a treat. With your holiday proposal just around the corner, Shane Company is here to help you create your dream engagement ring. This is your moment. Let's make it magical. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've helped tons of couples find a beautiful engagement ring for a price that works with their budget. We've always sourced diamonds directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. At Shane Company, we have the widest selection of ring settings and center stones, in stock and ready to compare side by side. It's so easy. Choose a look that brings your vision to life. From classic styles to modern designs, we have them all. Then pick out a natural or lab-grown diamond, a sapphire in your favorite color, or a vibrant gemstone like ruby or amethyst. With our everyday competitive prices and free lifetime warranty, your forever after is safe with us. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. We've got your dream ring and fine jewelry gifts for everyone on your list. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Transform your old, outdated kitchen with Half Price Granite. For a limited time, Half Price Granite is offering special pricing starting at $25 per square foot installed. That's lower than most big box stores. These prices are some of the lowest around. Granite, quartz, marble, and quartzite, all starting at $25 per square foot installed. Call 801-486-1700 or visit halfpricegranite.com. Half Price Granite, affordable luxury.
Join us at the Festival of Trees, a magical event benefiting the children at Intermountain Primary Children's Hospital. From December 4th to December 7th, the Mountain America Expo Center will transform into a winter wonderland of beautifully decorated trees, wreaths, and gingerbread houses, along with other fun-filled shops and activities. All funds raised help to create the nation's model health system for children. Together, we can make this holiday season a gift of love to change a child's life. Get tickets at festivalofTreesUtah.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. And here's Michelle Rowe.
I'm looking at a live shot of a new crash. This is southbound on I-215's east belt. It is off to the right about 4500 south, so just use some caution in that area. Other than that, looking pretty quiet out there. At Western Nut, they go nuts for their customers. Corporate gifting's a snap with Grab and Go, or provide a list and it's done for you. Call, stop in, or visit westernut.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Our winter air inversion remains in place over the Wasatch Front, trapping pollution and reducing air quality. The cold front coming in this weekend, though, could help conditions improve. Right now, 37 degrees and sunny. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Self-driving cars. Will these ever truly be a thing? Jay Evenson of the Desert News, he's the opinion editor, and he has driven his, is it gas-fueled?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
very much.
Car to the newsroom this morning to talk about his latest opinion piece.
Jay, you're so old school. Don't you know everybody drives EVs and it's all autonomous vehicles? You're surprised that the predictions have not come true, that we don't have massive driverless cars all over the country.
Listen, I was promised, right? Business Insider, and I quote them, in 2015, they said by 2020 there would be 10 million driverless cars on the road. And that hasn't happened. And that was 5 years ago we were supposed to have that. And the more I study it and more I look at it, it keeps getting farther and farther out. And the latest predictions I found are that we're going to be kind of where we are through 2035, which means the driverless cars will be confined to taxis, Waymo, etc., in different metropolitan areas, and they will be somewhat geo-fenced or put in an area where things are fairly predictable, because there are so many issues to work through.
I was going to ask you, what are the whys behind the delay?
Well, we are at there's 6 levels, I guess, from 0 to 5 that define self-driving. We are really on level 2 and level 3 in some areas, where we have a lot of great things that can guide you down the road and keep you in your lane, but they require the driver to have his or her hands on the wheel at all times still, and to be at the ready in case something happens. And the problem with that is that we become complacent. And so the car is doing a great job of taking over. And I talk in here about a really frightening video that came out last spring of this driver. It's foggy. He's going 60 miles an hour. He's got his hands on the wheel, and you can see a railroad crossing approaching suddenly out of the fog, and there's a train going through, and the arms are down, and it suddenly dawns on him, this car is not stopping. And you can kind of watch him making that decision. He has to slam on the brakes, and he has to go off the road. He hits the railroad crossing, but he narrowly misses the train. And so we do have, I quote a safety engineer in here from George Mason University, and she says that what we have with self-driving cars are coding errors. So there are certain errors that humans make that self-driving cars will never make, but there are errors that self-driving cars make today that humans would never make because of glitches in the software.
There's a couple things that stand out to me. Number one, artificial intelligence, I think, is going to change the game. And it already has made some huge improvements in autonomous vehicle. But you talked about Waymo. And for those that may not know, Waymo is a driverless taxi. It's largely in San Francisco. I remember listening to a podcast a year ago where Waymo was being just destroyed. It was the worst thing ever. There were protests that were going on. People are picketing Waymo. There were a couple incidents that happened. Well, a year later, they've worked out a huge number of these bugs. There's 700 taxis. They're driving 100,000 people a day or a week with this. It's become incredibly effective. There's a big wait list. People love it. Many cities want it. So I just thought it was so shocking to see in a year's time, when there were a few mistakes or some learning curves going on, to a year later where everyone's largely been, hey, this is working out pretty good. I wonder if the change isn't going to happen faster than you realize. Again, it hasn't happened in the 10 years or the 5 years that you're expecting. But I wonder, just seeing Waymo specifically, that this could almost change overnight, because that's what it's done in San Francisco.
It could. Certainly we're learning and we're getting better, but we don't really have the data yet. So humans drive, and I think the figure is like 3 trillion miles combined per year in the United States. And we have a fatality rate of about 1 for every 100 million of those miles driven. We simply haven't had those self-driving cars drive enough miles that we can make a comparison as to how they are doing compared to humans. And there are engineers now who are saying we shouldn't assume that there will be no fatalities and no accidents with self-driving cars.
We're speaking live right now to Jay Evenstein. He's the opinion editor for the Deseret News, and he joins us about once a week. Right?
Yes.
Every Tuesday you're in studio with us at 11 a.m. to walk through your latest opinion piece, and this one is about self-driving cars. I just don't have any experience with a self-driving car at all, but I just have a little bit of experience with a supportive SUV that I bought about a year ago. What is that called? Driver assist. Where if I change lanes, it notifies me in my side view mirrors that there's a car there. It flashes an orange light at me, so I know not to change lanes. I still do the old head check that I learned in driver ed, check just to make sure my car's getting it right. And it'll also jerk the steering wheel back into the lane for me. And it'll stop if I'm getting too close to an object, like if I'm pulling too close into the garage or something like that, to the workbench, it'll stop me. It beeps at me, but then it's like, I've had enough of you now. You're not stopping. I told you to stop. It stops the car for me. It took me a while to get used to this. So I do wonder if our mentality as drivers is I'll do the work. I don't need something helping me or driving for me. How much of this do you see as just a roadblock? The drivers just aren't ready for this technology yet, Jay.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, and it will take a while, and it will be a learning curve. Much of this technology is really good, but it can fail on occasion, and they keep identifying certain situations. If the light, if you're looking into a bright light, it can't really see and distinguish objects ahead of it, and these will have to be fixed with time. Somebody I quote in there talks about driving as a social exercise, and they talk about if a stoplight is out and it suddenly becomes a four-way stop, and drivers approach that and they signal to each other with hand gestures. No, you go, I'll go, you go. How do you get artificial intelligence to recognize those signals and to operate in that type of environment? How do you get them to distinguish between a traffic cop who's signaling for them to go and someone who's walking through a crosswalk and is waving at a friend or signaling to a friend? These are some of the challenges we still have to work through.
The thing that surprises me, and I think this is the biggest hurdle, is our standard is just way too high with autonomous driving. We have 65,000 crashes here in Utah. We have 250, 300 fatalities every year. I mean, we're not good drivers. I think every one of us has, at least that's the perception, right? When we're tailgating and road rage, all these things that happen, there's no road rage with an autonomous vehicle, right? There's no, hey, you cut me off, so I'm going to cut you off. There are some real problems with you and I driving and how we do it. And if our expectation is no fatalities and no crashes, how can that be the standard?
Yeah. So we have about 40,000 traffic deaths per year in this country, and I saw a statistic that said 94% of those are caused by human error. And so if you do away with drunk driving, distracted driving, road rage, those things, we really are pretty safe drivers. I mean, I've seen statistics that say there actually is about one fatality for every 200 million miles of those drivers who aren't distracted or drunk.
But we can't get rid of those, can we?
Well, no, we can't. So I'm not saying that self-driving cars aren't good and aren't going to take care of a lot of those problems. I'm saying that there are other problems that humans don't have that self-driving cars do currently, and they have to do with the software and some of these problems that I've been talking about here. And so that makes it a little bit farther down the road before we can deal with these things. Listen, I'm not getting any younger, and I was looking forward to being able to have my car pick me up and take me to the doctor,
Jay,
drop me off at the curb.
You and me both.
Only in San Francisco, Jay.
Right.
Only in San Francisco so far.
Right.
Love
Jay
it.
Evenson, thank you so much for joining us. Self-driving cars, promises collide with reality. You can read Jay's stuff at the Deseret News. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah, Deseret.com is your go-to for Jay's opinion pieces. Thanks so much. Always good to see you. So Dave and I have been looking into, and our whole team has, what went wrong with that small plane to land on I-15 last night at about 8 o'clock. Last night down in the Payson area caused several cars to collide.
The plane wasn't very well lit and had several vehicles crash into the airplane and into each other.
Straight ahead, what we have been learning this morning about the investigation into what happened last night, and then one of our own, Heather Kelly, who has had some aviation training. And we're going to ask her this question. She's going to join us. Are pilots taught to land on freeways during an emergency? That's next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to kslnewsradio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
If you have a family member that is struggling with addiction on some level, I love this research that's been done. They find that when you have family members that are involved in the recovery process, that can be that support, that the chances of a successful outcome skyrocket.
Yeah, and that's why we love to talk about Renaissance Ranch and what they're doing for the community. Beyond those that they're helping with addiction, they can help you as a family member deal with what your loved one is going through so you don't lose yourself in their addiction. Renaissance Ranch offers free family support services through weekly online classes that are open to the public. And let me repeat, those are free.
And they're taught for spouses, for parents. They come from a personal perspective. They have a women's support group. They have a couples recovery group.
It's faith-based and clinically proven for more than 20 years.
All you have to do is find these classes, free online classes at renaissanceranch.com. That's renaissanceranch.com.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
It's a new chapter for energy in your community. Dominion Energy is now Enbridge Gas in Utah, Wyoming, and Idaho. With 175 years experience delivering reliable energy, we're pleased to welcome customers formerly served by Dominion Energy to our Enbridge family. While the name of your gas company has changed, we remain your first choice for affordable natural gas. For more information, visit enbridgegas.com. That's ENBRIDGE gas.com. Tomorrow is on.
The Movie Show is at Minky Couture in Layton this Friday, December 6th from 11 to 1. Join KSL News Radio and Minky Couture and get special discounts and savings on your favorite Minky Couture products. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. New this year at Minky are family Christmas pajamas, luxury robes, and snuggly sleeping bags. Save 50% this Friday only for the Movie Show in Layton. Use code MOVIE50 at minkycouture.com or any of the 6 Minky locations.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
The temperatures outside have dropped a bunch, and now my family and I are enjoying the benefits of our brand new windows from Advanced Window Products in a different way. During the summer, it was nice to be able to keep the cold air in. Now it's nice to see how much more efficiently we can keep warm air inside. We replaced 20 of our builder-grade windows with high-efficiency windows and a glass door to our backyard with a built-in pet door, and we have just been thrilled with the results. We're already saving on our energy bill. We're helping pay for the windows with the rebate available through Dominion Energy. Our price didn't include any middleman markups because they did the sales and the installation all in-house. My wife and I love that there's a lifetime warranty serviced by their local team, labor, glass, parts included. I promise they're going to treat you right and you'll have an amazing experience from start to finish, just like I did. Right now is a great time to do it. Also, they're having an end-of-season sale. Save $2,500 on 10 windows or more. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
Arrive in style in a great-fitting suit from Mr. Mac. They ensure a perfect fit, offering fast, free alterations by expert tailors at all 9 Mr. Mac stores. Arrive in style.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, Many Utahns have chosen not to get routine vaccinations this year. Second, South Korea's president declared martial law last night, while the National Assembly voted to rescind that declaration this morning. And third, President Biden is visiting Angola today and lamenting its sad history of slavery. 37 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Our news team and even Dave and I have been looking into this morning what went wrong that forced a small plane to land on I-15 last night in the Payson area. So it's about an hour or so south of Salt Lake City. At about 8 o'clock in the evening, a small plane starts to have trouble, and it lands on I-15, and it causes cars start crashing on I-15.
It was quite a crashing, with an aircraft and 5 vehicles involved. So they did have quite a large scene at the time last night in which they had to start sorting things out. This is going to be an ongoing investigation where we have to put all the pieces together. But the aircraft was able to be towed off the freeway down onto a surface street where they're going to have to dismantle that to an extent where they can actually remove it. But the freeway is open, no road damage.
That's Lieutenant Cameron Roden, who joined the show live earlier with the Utah Highway Patrol.
Can you imagine anything more terrifying than flying in a plane? One of these small planes, this just had a single prop on the front, a 4-seater, only 2 people were inside, and then the engine cuts out. And then you're falling to the ground. Now, you're gliding to the ground, but you are falling to the ground. That panic that must set in, and then now you got to find a landing spot. And there's no guarantee that you're flying over, a big long runway that is called I-15. Where do you land? Where can you get to? That's got to be the most terrifying thing in the world.
What we have learned, thanks to that phone call from Lieutenant Cameron Roden, is that it appears as there was some sort of mechanical failure. Our very own Adam Small also filed a report with us this morning.
Yeah, so northbound I-15 in Payson around 8:15 last night. Basically, this plane, we're still trying to figure out exactly what caused the engine to go out, but UHP said there was a mechanical failure. The engine quit. This is a small little plane. Being told one pilot and a student pilot were in this. I'm just getting an update now as I've been reaching out for more info. And this plane needs to make an emergency landing, is landing on northbound I-15.
The people in the plane, the 2 people in the plane, did not sustain any injuries. Those who were driving in the cars that collided, there were several injuries. But what Adam reported earlier is that those who'd been sent to the hospital, their conditions had been upgraded this morning. So it did appear as though they were beginning the road to recovery. And luckily, given what you saw in terms of the crash scene, Dave, in the cars, there weren't worse injuries.
Yeah, part of what is surprising to me as I was looking at the video from KSL 5 television is the plane itself is not destroyed. It looks like there was damage, obviously, to the tail where it appears that's where they crashed into. But aside from that, it was largely just tail damage. Now, you look at the damage to the vehicles. There is a large Dodge truck that is almost in a V shape, where the front end has damage, and then other cars crashed into it. It appears, and there's massive damage to these vehicles. Far more damage to the vehicles than the plane.
Now, Lieutenant Roden also did tell us that it seemed as though the pilot was trying to make it to the Spanish Fork Airport, but just didn't have enough oomph to get there, so had to land on I-15. Our very own Heather Kelly, who you often hear here on the radio doing traffic reports, told us recently that she's trained to be a pilot. Now, Heather, you don't have all of your flight time, correct? But you do have some of it.
I do. I have about 20 hours in the air. So one of the first things they do teach you is if something goes wrong with the plane, you've got to find a place to touch down if you're not near the airport.
So what are some of the things you take into consideration when it comes to, okay, we've got to land this, it's not ideal. What are you looking for?
We're looking for a flat place. You know, you don't want to be in the water, obviously, especially if you're a smaller aircraft. So you want as smooth a surface as you can get, that you've got a long runway or, long surface to land on. And that's why a lot of times here in the Salt Lake area or the Wasatch Front, we see so many planes landing on our freeways because we've got the lake. We've got Great Salt Lake. We've got Utah Lake. We have, hillsides, mountains that those aren't ideal to land on if you're able to like find a flatter place to go.
Heather, I was talking earlier with Dave and Lieutenant Roden, and I recalled back in the 90s when I worked for Channel 4 News that a small plane had to make an emergency landing on I-215 on the east side. And if my memory serves, it was kind of midday, maybe about 10 a.m. in the morning. Not a lot of traffic on I-215 as it hugs the mountain there, not far from Wasatch Boulevard. So there wasn't the potential for cars to crash into the plane. Plus, they could see it. It was broad daylight out. In terms of other options for places for pilots to land, what else are you looking for? Like dirt roads or side streets or?
Well, if it's daylight hours and you can see the ground, like golf courses are ideal because they're flat. They don't have the power lines running over them. So those are good places to land. Also, railroad tracks. When I was learning, we actually practiced landing on the railroad tracks that go through the Great Salt Lake. So, or, over that area, they built up a place. So I learned that to pick the railroad tracks. Now, that's not ideal. You could have a train coming through and it's harder to get to take off again or to move the plane because you've got railroad tracks. You don't have a smooth surface to take off.
If an engine cuts out, do you know much about that? Like, does the plane glide? Do you have any experience with that, Heather?
Yeah, if it's a smaller aircraft and all the engine does is just cut out and you've got enough speed, you can glide for a while. Now, it is heavier. It's going to start sinking as it glides. But if the reason it's falling out of the air is because you're missing a rudder or, something's wrong with your aileron, you could go into a spin and a dive. And then there's no way to glide with that. You're just going to be spinning straight down almost.
So it sounds like this was a pretty, even though people were injured in terms of how the pilot landed, pretty fortunate that they were able to find the freeway.
Yes, and for the pilot in the dark, the freeway makes the best sense because you actually have the car's taillights or their headlights that acts as like you can see what basically he's making I-15 a runway. So those taillights, he was following those to land. So that's a good thing because when it's dark, you can't see the other topography. You don't know what you're going to be landing into.
Thank you so much for joining us, Heather. Hey, final question. You've seen this this plane. Any idea? Can you tell us how much space, how much length you need to be able to land a plane? Is it a football field or?
No, you don't need that much on a small plane, assuming that their brakes still work, that the hydraulics are still working. So the brakes run by hydraulics. So all you do is just push on the pedals to stop the plane. So, you're talking like however much space a semi-truck needs to stop. That's about what you might need.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you letting us tap into some of your expertise here. At KSL News Radio's Heather Kelly has some pilot training, and thank you. Thanks, Heather.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. Utah's Olympic leaders telling planners for the 2034 Winter Games they'd better start asking the government for money. KSL News Radio's Michael Commit has more on that.
Right now, planners for the 2028 Summer Games in Los Angeles are asking President-elect Donald Trump to budget $3 billion towards improving public transportation. The 2034 Games could reach a budget of $4 billion, and Senator Mitt Romney tells the Deseret News that planners need to start asking the government right now for help. Otherwise, it could be too late by the time the games roll around.
And the 2034 budget has so far been funded by private donations. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. In defiance of South Korean President Yoon's declaration of martial law, the National Assembly in Seoul has voted to lift his declaration. ABC's Britt Clennett says this appears to be a power move by the president.
He was frustrated by not being able to pass anything through the legislature, by attempts to block any laws that he wanted to pass. Will he be satisfied with this, or is he going to take it a step further?
Now, Korea's Donga Ilbo news service says soldiers who were sent to the National Assembly building have now been withdrawn. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down 50 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ, on the other hand, is up 30. And our KSL weather looks like the sunshine will continue along with the bad air. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
At Harbor Freight, our low prices make us the place for gifts that keep on giving. Because when you give the gift of quality tools, you're giving someone the ability to fix, restore, and build for years to come. And with savings like these, you can even get something for yourself. Whatever you do, do it for less at Harbor Freight. Stop by and give yourself the gift of great prices.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Now is the perfect moment to do what I did last year at this time, and that is to get on your SOTA weight loss journey. Why wait for a resolution in January? Your health can't wait. So now's the perfect time to join. Imagine going into 2025 in the best shape of your life. SOTA weight loss delivers fast results, but here's the thing, it's without drugs, shots, pills, or crazy side effects. You don't gain it all back when you're finished because SOTA works with you for the rest of your life. I let go of 70 pounds of fat weight over 5 months. Nothing feels better than looking down and seeing another 3 to 5 pounds come off each week. And the health benefits have been amazing. I lowered my A1C. I sleep better. Look, if you want proof, go to sotaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com. Click on Request a Nutritionist Callback and take advantage of SOTA's biggest savings of the year and ask about the holiday special. SOTA will change your life for the better because it's, say it with me, say of the R's.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. And here's Ricky Meese.
We do have a disabled vehicle northbound. This is at Bangerter Highway near the I-15 junction. And on I-15 in Utah County, we had a small accident at the Pleasant Grove area. It really didn't cause a problem on that southbound drive. It was moved out of traffic to the left shoulder, and they've already moved off the freeway. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The winter air inversion remains in place over the Wasatch Front, trapping pollution and reducing air quality. A cold front coming in this weekend could help conditions improve. And right now, we're at 41 degrees. It's sunny. I'm Dan Bonas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
You know, there's a lot of things that get me fired up, but scammers, scammers. And scams are prolific. I just checked my cell phone because I've been getting a ton of scam calls lately. I've logged 34 scam or might be a scam calls I did not answer because my phone, thankfully, I have them silenced in 1 month. Since November 4th of this year to today, 34 scam calls.
Holiday scam, just like any other scam, is to target you in a very emotional period of the year. You have to be extremely vigilant.
That's part of Matt Gephardt's KSL Television's investigative reporter story on how to look out for scams. And we're going to walk through some of the telltale signs. This isn't just happening to me. What I worry about is our parents, Dave.
Well, and what's so interesting about this, Debbie, and you've done a ton of reporting on this, scammers are smarter than you are. And that is a humbling thing for us to have to accept. They're better at it. They're more devious at it. They've thought of every single angle to it. And we are so profoundly embarrassed when it happens. We don't tell anybody. We hide it. We don't admit it. And it just perpetuates the cycle.
Firsthand experience almost being scammed. And you're absolutely right. I have done a number of reports in my television news reporting career about looking out for fake emails. Don't download emails you aren't expecting. Don't click on links you don't recognize. And for goodness sakes, if your bank reaches out to you via text, I say bank in air quotes, it's a phony. It's a fraud. It's a scammer trying to get you to click a link to change your password and give them the keys to the kingdom. Maybe you put in your social security number or you end up in a phone call with somebody from 3 countries over trying to tell you that there's a problem with your bank. Well, it's all a fraud. I had firsthand experience with this, and the scammer, you're absolutely right, Dave, was spot on with placement of how they were going to perpetuate this scam. In a very early morning text that I got before the sun came up. It was a Saturday morning. I was sleeping in. It was 5:30 a.m., and my text goes off. Ding, ding. I think it's got to be one of my kids, right? My adult kids. There's got to be a problem. They probably need me. Maybe I need... Anyway, I am shaken out of a cold sleep. A wonderful dream, too, by the way. And I shoot out of bed, and I pick up my phone, and it's my bank. Or so I thought. But I was groggy. I was still exhausted. I wasn't completely in the moment. And it said, there's a problem with your account. Click the link. And I paused for just a brief moment enough to think, maybe there's not a problem with my bank. But I had that anxiety, sort of that anxiety well up in me, like, oh no, somebody's got my bank account number. I almost clicked the link. And as much experience as I have with this, telling other people's heartbreaking stories of what happens to their money and their social security number when they end up in clicking the link and getting caught up in one of these scams, I almost clicked the link. But what I did instead was, you know what I did? I checked my bank account. And you know what I found? Wasn't a problem at all.
It's fine. Nothing happened.
Bank rates, Katie Kelton on the phone live with us right now. Good morning, Katie.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
Does this sound familiar? These scams really kind of overtake our cell phones this time of year.
That's so true. I, like you, have been getting calls and texts for all kinds of things, really. Package delivery scams, and like you mentioned, impersonators from your bank. And I heard you say earlier that scammers are getting better at impersonating our banks, especially with the use of AI. They can mimic logos, they can mimic websites, and have whole phone conversations where you think you're talking to your bank. I would say that the trick is if you can initiate the conversation, I would do that. And it's just like you said, you went to your bank, you checked your account, you made sure from a trusted source that everything was okay. don't let scammers create a sense of urgency by reaching out to you and asking you to click on their link. Instead, you can always reach back out to your bank and ensure that it's legit or not.
That sense of urgency, that is one that I've noticed because I've taken these phone calls before, and there always is this, hey, this has got to happen right now. We're going to put some urgency to it. What are some of the other red flags that you see?
So generally when a scammer is trying to impersonate your bank, it's usually as an email or a text, phishing or smishing, and it's some sort of notification. And yes, you mentioned the sense of urgency, act now, or you're going to lose all your money or lose access to your account. Other things that I think are red flags are when they are asking you to reset your password or share a verification code. Really, your bank should never ask you for personal information by text or email. So stay on alert when you receive a request for that kind of thing. And also, if you can avoid clicking links in general, I would do so. You know how to visit your bank's website or app. I think any kind of link can be a red flag, and you just don't know in this day and age where it's going to take you.
Katie, one of the things that I, thought was so brilliant on the scammers' part is that they caught me in the middle of a cold, hard sleep. I was just not thinking straight, and it gave me a sense of panic. And that's just perfect for a scammer.
Of course. That's so true. And this time of year is very emotional. I mean, we're already stressed. We're holiday shopping. We're getting tons of ads on our phone. We might be looking at our annual budgets and our bank account and our taxes. We just have a lot going on right now. And so it is easy to fall victim to that sense of stress and urgency, but it will still do you better if you can pause and take a beat and remember to reach out and connect with them and confirm the information and just verify that you're talking to who you think you're talking to.
Katie Kelton, thank you for joining us from Bankrate.
So that is the bank scam to be aware of, but there are tons of other scams. Sometimes our parents or our grandparents will get calls from who they think is their grandchild who claims to be locked up in jail in a foreign country, and if grandma or grandpa doesn't run to the local wiring service and send or Venmo thousands of dollars for bail money, their grandchild is going to be locked up forever. You've also, and I wanted you to save this for after the break, you've accidentally fallen victim to a scam, right?
A couple of times.
A couple of times. Share your scammed, I've been scammed stories. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. There's no shame. There's no shame here. I just told you how I almost got scammed. Dave's going to explain how he did get scammed. Share your I've been scammed story with us live next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
With the holidays right around the corner, it's time to get ready for friends and family by calling the cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119 and a 4th room free with a food donation to the Utah Food Bank. Give the tech a bag of non-perishable food and get the 4th room clean free. Call Zero Res at 801-288-9376 or go to zerores.com and ask for the KSL special. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean. Zero Res.
Jimmer from 40 feet! Got it! He did it again!
Hi, I'm Jimmer Fredette.
We all have our heroes. I know I have mine. Looking to them as role models has helped me achieve my dreams. If you want to make a difference, give hope to thousands of Americans on the organ transplant waiting list. 3/4 of those on the list need a kidney, and one person dies every 2 hours as the need for organs far exceeds the supply. I made the choice to be an organ donor. You can make a difference. Donate a kidney or donate a car. Both save lives. Join me, Jimmer Fredette, in my effort to make an impact. Donate to the Kidney Foundation today. Donate online at www.towcars.org. That's TOWKARS.org. Make your car a kidney car, a car that saves lives. Call the Kidney Foundation at 1-800-TOW-CARS today. Join me and make a difference.
Call 1-800-TOW-CARS with a K, like kidney.
Hi, I'm Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. In these trying times, when inflation is out of control and our paychecks give us less and less money to support our families, the last thing any of us can afford is for the IRS to garnish wages, levy bank accounts, or seize assets. It's important now more than ever to protect your financial security.
We have reduced our tax liability by over $42,000.
$66,300. Let us safeguard you. Visit endtaxworry.com. We have saved countless taxpayers like you millions of dollars, kept businesses in operation, and ensured that our clients receive the best possible outcome.
Nearly $65,000.
$12,000 is something that you can look at and say, okay, I can handle that.
I'm Jordan Wilcox, your Utah tax attorney. You work hard for your money. Let us work hard for you. Visit endtaxworry.com.
We're very grateful.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Adapt Your Table is an innovative gardening education business dedicated to helping homeschooling families grow their own food. With a focus on sustainability, technology, and hands-on support, they empower families to learn essential gardening skills. Founder and master gardener Janine Smith joins us with more.
At Adapt Your Table, we help homeschooling parents and caregivers take control of their family's food by teaching them how to grow it themselves. From small kitchen gardens to innovative setups like our tabletop farm, we offer online courses and coaching tailored specifically to support busy families. In today's world, where health and sustainability matter more than ever, we're reconnecting families with where and how their food is grown by blending technology with gardening. Tabletop gardening is a fun and impactful way to teach kids valuable STEM concepts, explore microclimates, and understand nutrition, all through hands-on learning. With Adapt Your Table, you'll gain practical skills and cultivate curiosity, confidence, and a love for learning. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced gardener, we provide the resources and guidance you need to succeed and grow with confidence. Visit adaptyourtable.com/waitlist to join the waitlist and start your journey to growing knowledge, health, and sustainability.
Adapt Your Table is paving the way for sustainable home growing solutions. They offer self-paced lessons, tabletop farm kits, and support designed to create meaningful hands-on experiences for families, all from the comfort of your home. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account. Plus, continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, the 2034 Winter Olympics may be 10 years away, but supporters say Salt Lake City should already be asking the federal government for money. Second, the president of South Korea declared martial law, and then the National Assembly immediately rescinded it. And third, it's only the first week of December, but UPS and FedEx are reminding us of Christmas shipping deadlines already. 41 degrees and sunny in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Scam Lake City. When have you been scammed? 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Look, these scams are worldwide. You know that, but we're just talking about if you live in Salt Lake or the surrounding Ogden, Provo, Tooele, Park City, and you've been scammed, share your I've been scammed moment. The reason we're talking about this is because of the uptick in particularly like text message scams that you might find yourself receiving this year, like I've gotten, like we've all gotten. But Dave also has his own personal I've been scammed stories.
I have a couple of experiences. I will say that I am so embarrassed because, number one, we do scams a lot on this show. We talk about scams. You are an expert. I've picked your brain many a times. This isn't the most recent one, but this is one that I will never forget. You remember Mumford and Sons?
Yes, I do.
I decide kind of at the last minute, I'm going to the concert. I'm going to take my son, and I go online and I, like Facebook Marketplace, whatever. I've done this before and it's totally worked. It was indistinguishable to me beforehand. The only warning sign, because I actually called the person up, I was talking to them, so it was an actual human. And the only warning bell that I saw was he said, I don't take Venmo, but I take Apple Pay. So I switched over to Apple Pay and I just paid him for the tickets there, and then ghost, gone, nowhere.
No.
So totally got taken.
So how did the concert go?
I ended up taking my son anyway, and we scalped some tickets there. I'm like, you are going to walk me through these gates before I Venmo you the money. And sure enough, it was great. But yeah, I paid for those tickets twice.
One of the other things that we talked about is getting these fake text messages that says, hey, this is your bank. There's a problem with your bank account. Click on this. I received one of those. And it happened just, before dawn. So it shook me out of bed. I was panicked in the moment, and I almost clicked the link before I thought, now, you've done stories on people who've clicked the link before, Debbie, as a TV news reporter. Maybe you should just actually check with your bank itself. And sure enough, there was not a single problem with my bank. So thankfully, I didn't click the link. We had Katie Kelton on just moments ago. She's with Bankrate. She's a credit card analyst, and she told Dave and I about red flags to look out for.
So generally, when a scammer is trying to impersonate your bank, it's usually as an email or a text, phishing or smishing, and it's some sort of notification. And yes, you mentioned the sense of urgency, act now, or you're going to lose all your money or lose access to your account. Other things that I think are red flags are when they are asking you to reset your password or share a verification code. Really, your bank should never ask you for personal information by text or email. So stay on alert when you receive a request for that kind of thing. And also, if you can avoid clicking links in general, I would do so. You know how to visit your bank's website or app. I think any kind of link can be a red flag, and you just don't know in this day and age where it's going to take you.
As you heard her say, smishing, that's the text version, the SMS, the text version of phishing. So smishing, that was a new term I hadn't heard. But I thought it was interesting with your story, Debbie, that this came through early in the morning. You're still a little groggy. And I thought, boy, that, before you're totally clear-headed, what a great time to do it.
Yeah. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist, but in this case, I did think that these scammers were conspiring to catch people before you typically wake up in the morning, 5:30, 6 in the morning. It's a Saturday morning, so a lot of people sleep in on Saturdays after a rough work week. And that's exactly what I was doing. And it just bing, ding, 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 and it jolted me out of bed. It gave me a sense of panic and urgency. And when you see there's something wrong with your bank, you might be compelled to click the link. I did not. I almost did. But then I thought back to all the people who have, and I thought, no, their warning is make sure you don't click the link and instead go to your bank directly. You can go on your bank online. You can go on the app, and I did that. There wasn't a single problem with my bank whatsoever. And my bank is really good at notifying me if there is a problem. Hi, Judy. Have you been scammed?
Oh, big time of my own doings, but I had got a message on my computer from, of all things, Microsoft, that I have a problem at my bank and that I needed to draw out my funds, and then they would go on to gift cards and then be redeposited. $3,900 later, there was nothing in the bank, so I should have contacted my bank before I believed Microsoft.
Judy, I am so sorry. What a
Group
terrible story. Yep.
Group hug.
Well, and this is why we so appreciate you talking about this, Judy, because what happens is it is devastating to us, number one. It's also extremely embarrassing, right? Because with a little bit of space, we realize, there were warning signs. How did I fall for this? But by sharing these stories, I think it takes away some of the shame. You know, we've all been almost duped or maybe fully duped like I have been. I've been duped before, and that's not even getting into the crab leg story.
You got to get into that one now. Thanks, Judy, for your call. I'm so sorry that happened. But again, I echo what Dave said. Thanks for being brave enough to share it. There's no shame here. We've all almost been scammed at one point or have been scammed, or we know somebody who has.
So here's the crab leg story. My brother and I, we play fantasy football. If we ever win, we have a John and Dave's Day of Fun where we go out and we spend all of our winnings. So we go golfing and we buy stuff and we spend all our winnings. Well, we won and we wanted to buy crab legs. And we saw this great crab leg deal on TikTok, TikTok shop type thing. Yeah. And so we order up literally like 10 pounds of crab legs for, I don't know, $150. Like that's such an unbelievably great deal for crab legs, but
how much?
$150.
Yeah, that's a good deal.
For 10 pounds. There's no place in the world where you can get 10 pounds of crab legs, but we thought, you know what? This seems like a good deal. We totally get the 10 pounds of crab legs, and I think I shared the text with you earlier today, and I'm like, hey, John, when do those crab legs arrive? He's like, Sunday, I think. He's like, I'm starting to feel like it's a little bit fishy. Maybe this isn't legit. So he looks into it, can't find a tracking number, and so he reversed the charges on his credit card. Fortunately,
that's a good tip.
Yeah, we paid for it with a credit card.
Yeah.
We didn't buy gift cards and send it off.
Yeah.
So no damage done. Maybe they got our credit card number. But yeah, sure enough, that's what happened. This is two adults, right? And we're not uneducated. We talk about it. Here's the problem. It's no different from the legitimate times I purchase things online. And that's what's so frustrating.
You often purchase crab legs online?
It wasn't crab legs per se, but I've purchased lots of things online, right?
Beef. It's what's for dinner. You go to beef.
I buy the sausages. I buy some brisket. Apparently, it's just the crab legs. Yeah, pistachios. lots of flavored pistachios.
Well, we don't normally make fun of people who fall victims for scam unless it's each other.
You can make fun of me. Hey, my Achilles heel is Mumford & Sons tickets and crab legs. I'll just throw my money at you. Take my money.
We just got another text message, and it says that they're getting mail delivery scam notices via email. It's just a scam saying there's a problem with something with the mail. So
is that mishing?